Hey, let's start the show.
It's August 16th, 2012. Welcome to This Is Only a Test, the official podcast of Tested.com. I'm Will Smith. Joining me today, Norman Chan. How you doing, sir?
Okay.
Let's brew.
What's that?
Have you had coffee today?
My coffee is actually... Shoot. I have a cup of coffee.
You left your coffee on your desk.
I do not know where it is.
Oh, it's gone. It's dead. It's missing.
It's not on my desk.
It's nowhere to be found.
Where did it go, Joey? I totally made a cup of coffee right before this podcast. I don't know where...
I just poured some more.
Joining
Is
us...
this your coffee?
That's the one I just poured. Yeah, just
Damn it.
got
It's
Joey's
the exact
coffee.
same cup. How you doing, Joey?
good.
Are you going to take your headphones off and go get coffee now, Norm? Is that what's happening?
Continue talking about how you're
Talk
doing.
amongst
All right, yeah, I'm
yourselves.
doing all right. This is probably my sixth cup of coffee today, and I had one Red Bull earlier.
So I was on the Bombcast earlier this week, and they really follow the do not speak until you are introduced etiquette. They hew close to that line.
That's what I always assumed it was correct, right?
Yeah, some of us don't follow that as well
You
here.
just speak out and start going.
Yeah, no one speaks until your name has been called. It's speak only when spoken to over
What is
there.
it, Nazi Italy over there?
Have I been introduced yet?
Hey, joining us today is Joey
Oh,
Vermelli.
no. Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Joey?
Why so strict?
Well, Ryan, he gets behind the control panel. It's a real serious podcast room over there.
Are you saying people who are in control of the control panel or control freaks?
No, I don't think that's the case.
How-
You've been in control of the control panel before. Were you
Yeah,
a
it
control
feels
freak then?
extremely powerful.
Look, I can turn you. If I don't want to hear what you say anymore, I'll just turn you down.
Yeah.
all the way. Have I ever done that? I've never even threatened to do that.
A good dictator never makes threats.
Just promises, Chan. Just promises. So how you doing, Joey?
Good. I'm doing all right. A little tired.
There were some crazy experiments going on here before the show started, and you pulled back at the last minute. It looks like.
The lights?
I don't want to talk about what they were or what we were thinking about doing, but it was going to add a whole other level of production value to this show, which I think is probably a bad idea.
And like you said, once you start, you can't stop. You got to
Yeah.
keep going at it, and I don't want to do that.
Once the nuclear bomb's out of the hole, you can't put it back in. Did you get your coffee, Chan? Are you ready to go?
We now have identical matching cups of coffee
That's.
between Joey and me.
Uh-oh.
I have a giant thing of icy water. Hey, did the guy come today to fix the water cooler?
What's the problem with the water cooler?
Well, it doesn't cool water. It makes the water hot instead.
Oh,
I saw two people in
Reverse
here
polarity.
at some point.
Okay.
I think those are the garbage dudes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been
Okay. I'll call them tomorrow then. We'll get on that. The office is kind of coming together.
starting to feel like an office.
Yeah, there's a whole wall of studio stuff. The little green screen is set up, the one that used to be in the basement in the Sausalito office, the Giant Bomb always used. We have a fridge. That's pretty cool.
It's great.
We have a water heater.
Coffee maker.
We have 2 trash cans and one in the bathroom. We have soap.
Our bathroom looks very nice. I like
Is
the,
it that little table?
the pyramid of the table and the pyramid of toilet paper.
Yeah, because before it was a box in that corner
It's a cardboard box.
Cardboard
Just
box.
Throw your trash in there.
No,
with crumpled up pieces
Was it-
of paper towel in that corner.
it was just a grocery bag, wasn't it?
It was a grocery bag for a while. I had to throw
then
that
it
out.
turned into a box.
I heard we had company, so I decided to
Oh,
throw
okay.
that out.
Oh,
and then I
yeah.
put a box in there. I thought that looked more nice.
So
a
you,
little
you
bit
threw
better.
out the double-layered Trader Joe's shopping bags, grocery bags, placed it with a storage box.
Yeah.
Double bag the trash, man. Always double bag the trash. So I went to the Bombcast guys, the CNET, CBSI, whatever they're called now. They have a real podcast room. It's like a studio with articulated arms that are on like spring stands and
Share for the entire company, though.
it doesn't matter. There's like Brian has a whole control thing he sits behind with a
We had 8
TriCaster.
podcasts, and
We could do more podcasts.
Okay.
Podcasts are easy.
Okay,
Just sit around. Let's do a TV podcast. That's easy. Why not?
all right.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was like going to a radio station.
They do video also, right?
Well, the video the video setup that they have is a bunch of handy cams that are maybe 5 inches from your face, and you get this really weird wide-angle shot of like you and whatever the corner behind you is.
So it looks like what happens when you tune in to like public service access, and
It's a little bit better than that.
radio.
And that's what Ryan's controlling with the TriCaster is the shot.
I don't think they do video at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, theoretically
that would okay.
in theory. So yeah, that was weird to be in a professional podcast studio. I'd never been in one of those before. So yeah. Anyway, what's going on today? Windows 8 came out. Should we talk about news?
Sure.
RTM. Today's the TechNet day. So TechNet and MSDN members. TechNet is for testing and evaluation for IT departments. MSDN is for Microsoft certified developers. Both cost an annual fee to have access to. But
Anyone can do it.
anyone can do it. If you just have to pay. So they released Windows 8 to TechNet and MSDN subscribers this morning, and both of those sites immediately collapsed. It seemed like I tried downloading myself and just got nowhere within moments. But so RTM code is out for normal people. It had been to Microsoft and HP and Lenovo and Acer and Asus and those kinds of companies before.
On August 1st.
But now everyone who has access to MSDN or TechNet can download. They seeded a bunch of review laptops and tablets out to analysts and reviewers. Mine arrived this morning 14 minutes before the embargo was up, so that was pretty cool.
Okay.
We'll have Windows 8 stuff soon. So I've been using RTM all day today. I put on my big gaming machine at home. I used that laptop some.
And it's exactly the same as...
It's not exactly the same.
Release preview.
It's not exactly the same.
How close to the same is it?
Well, the wallpaper is much better. The lock screen wallpaper is much better.
So in terms of lines of code, maybe 99% the same?
I don't think that's a really valid metric, but it nothing that I've been able to notice has changed. It feels maybe a little bit snappier. I think that they probably turned off. Usually they turn off the debug code. I don't know if they did that. Would have done that for the release preview.
Lower code number on the bottom corner.
There's no. Yeah, that's gone. It doesn't say for evaluation purposes only.
This will basically be the Windows that you get on October 26th if you go upgrade to Windows 8 or buy a new computer with Windows 8 on it.
When you download the upgrade, this is what your machine will have running. So I did a couple of things. I did the dumb thing and did the install upgrade in place on my home machine, my gaming machine.
But you already had Windows 8 release preview.
I had release preview.
Can you upgrade from release preview to RTM?
You can't upgrade, but you can install on top of. So what that did was moved all of the stuff that it didn't recognize into a folder called windows.old on the C drive, and then I had to reinstall everything. So that was a huge pain in the ass, basically.
Okay.
But it's essentially a clean install at that point, just with the data that didn't wipe the hard drive first.
Okay.
So that's working pretty well. Like that it took a little while to get everything signed in and all the browsers and apps and stuff that I like installed, and two-factor authentication made that take a lot longer than it should have. But I have Dropbox running, and I have all the it's a machine that I can work on again at this point. And in the process of doing that, you kind of get a good feel for how the OS is going. And it feels very similar to release preview. Like I said, a little snappier maybe. Like the UI is a little more responsive.
Well, there's also no more, not only no more Metro as a indicator anywhere, but also no more of the Windows Chrome and desktop.
That is correct. So nothing's transparent anymore. Although the thing
Nothing's translucent.
Translucent. What it does do that's weird though is because I changed. Well, first off, you sign in with your Windows Live ID, and it immediately pulled all of my wallpapers and stuff down, which is new. Like it. The nice thing about doing that is it syncs all of your settings, your profile settings, and all the stuff that you changed and tweaked to make Windows look more like what you want Windows to look like. It immediately pulled all of that stuff straight down from SkyDrive, which was great because like my custom wallpaper was there and a bunch of other stuff. And one of the things I'd noticed this before, and I never talked about it because I immediately forgot. But when you set the color choice to automatic, the thing that you can control what the Windows Chrome looks like, whether it's blue or green or silver or red or whatever, the default choice is automatic. And what that does is picks up the primary color in your wallpaper and uses it for the Windows Chrome. So it makes the whole thing seem more cohesive.
That's cool.
It's really cool because what I had done was I set up like 4 or 5 wallpapers that I liked, and it cycles between them every 30 or 45 minutes randomly. And one is blue, and one is red, and one is kind of green, and one is orange.
All the borders of your windows just cycle colors.
Every 30 minutes, all this changes. And one of the new options that's added, and this may have been in a release preview and I just didn't notice before, is that you can set it to change on login. So every time you log in, it's like it's a fresh version of Windows. It's kind of nice.
Is it picking a very unique color scheme, or is it working from like a 16 color palette?
I'm sure that there's some terrifying math about how it determines what the main color is. My hunch, it's probably either an average of all the colors that are in the scene, which would be weird if there's a lot of contrasty stuff. You'd end up with brown if you had like orange and blue. I think it takes whatever color there's the most pixels of,
and picks its own kind of unique color,
and uses that as the kind of the accent color, if you will. It's a neat effect. We'll show you. We're going to shoot a quick look tomorrow morning, I think. So we'll show you then. That stuff. It is almost but not quite indistinguishable from release preview.
Okay. Excellent.
Kind of, yeah. So, do we want to talk about Windows 8 now, or do we want to save that for later? Because I've been thinking about it a lot.
Then go talk about it now if you're thinking about it a lot. Sounds like you have a lot to say.
So I'm writing a story. A lot of this will end up being in the story. So if you don't have to read that, I guess now. But it's weird because the OS is very clearly, it supports so many different kinds of input. It's keyboard, mouse, trackpad, and keyboard, pen, touch, all of this different stuff. All of those have kind of wildly differing pros and cons, strengths and weaknesses, right? So touch is great for kind of browsing and kind of scrolling through things and giving a real tactile connection to the OS. But it's not real precise because we all have fat fingers, right?
Oh, so you're saying that the touch implementation is not as good as iOS still?
I don't know because I haven't used a touch device.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're saying in general?
I'm just saying, let's take a step back and look at a theoretical standpoint about what you would do to build an OS that works great for touch versus what you would do to build an OS that works great with a more precise pointing mechanism, like say a mouse or a trackpad.
Yeah.
And because Windows 8 is supposed to work equally well with all of those things, like there are a couple of ways you could do that, right? One is that you could build custom UIs for each. Custom views essentially for each of these interfaces, and expose the right one on the right device. So if you're on a touch device and then Windows looks different than if you're on a mouse and keyboard, than if you're using a pen.
Bigger buttons, bigger icons.
Yeah.
Scroll bars. Gone.
Exactly. That's kind of what people do for websites, right? Like mobile websites and touch-enabled websites and desktop websites are all tuned for different kinds of interfaces.
And even with touch, it's different because whether you're using it on a tablet or a phone, or different size tablets, different size screen, different resolution screen, it's all going to be different.
Yeah, because like even something as simple as clicking a link that's above or like if you have two links, if you have 3 links on 3 lines of text directly adjacent to each other, it's really hard to touch a single link accurately in that kind of setup. And it happens all the time, like headline, byline, date, post date on every blog on the internet is set up like that.
I've been consistently impressed by how accurate iOS is in gauging where my intention, the center point of my intention is on my fingers, regardless of what size finger I use.
Yeah.
So if I use my thumb or an index finger to tap a link, a small link, very small icon, even though it's not going to be exactly right in the center, like the median center point of where my finger is, it through testing or through some type of algorithm, it kind of knows where my intent is.
That's something I didn't notice until I started using the Nexus 7 a lot. And like the Nexus 7 gets around that by popping up a blow up to show you the 3 links that it thinks you're touching and lets you pick. iOS more often than not just gets it right, which is really much more impressive than I kind of initially gave it credit for.
It's an engineering feat.
Yeah. So, I haven't used a touch device yet. The laptop that Microsoft sent is a Samsung Series 9, so it's a super ultrabook. It's just a mouse and a trackpad. The trackpad is still just abysmal. Really, really bad. And it could be driver issues that they'll work out. It doesn't have any kind of multi-touch at all that I can tell as it is right now. So when you can't do 2-finger scrolling, you can't swipe in from the edges to bring the charms out. You can't do anything. Anyway, Back to the overarching.
That's a problem.
It's a bad problem, yeah, for something that's coming out in a month and a half. So as an overarching design theory, that's one way you could do it. You could build custom views for each thing, right? Which is kind of what they did. Metro is very touch friendly. Desktop,
modern.
Okay, we haven't talked about this yet on the podcast, but Microsoft fucked up with the names and didn't get their trademarks right. So we're having to change the name of the Metro UI, what we've called the blocks with the text in them for the last 2 years, to Modern now. I'm just going to keep saying Metro for the foreseeable future because that's what people understand.
Wait, I don't know what is Metro's it's like when you turn on the Xbox and I see that.
Those tiles.
Those are
Anything with the flat colors, big blocky icons.
Text heavy.
they're kind of like promo
or just
images.
in Windows Phone. So the
is it
idea
the
of
same?
having tiles and the idea of having just that whole aesthetic and the philosophy behind using white space.
Ambient information
And-
yeah.
Oh, Modern.
They call it modern.
Metro.
Exactly. That's modern. Yeah, it's modern.
Is that what they're calling? It's going from Metro to Modern.
It was previously called Metro Style UI, and they cannot call it that anymore. So,
Wow.
in all their presentations, all their videos, all their documents, all their blogs, they would call it Metro Style Apps, Metro Style Interface. That is all gone.
So it's now Modern,
Modern.
which means that there's now an opportunity for Microsoft's postmodern UI. It's coming. It's only a matter of time.
What was the
Okay.
Connect before? Was the Connect?
Project something or other. Unicorn? Project, oh boy. Yeah, it had a real goofy code name, didn't
I remember sitting in line at that Cirque du Soleil E3. Everyone was.
it? Oh, the one with the ponchos?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we were wearing those white ponchos.
Oh, that's silly. Okay, so the other thing you could do is try to build one thing that serves all of those UIs, right? They didn't do that.
Natal.
Natal, that's the word
that's it.
everyone was talking about online.
It wasn't a word. It wasn't even a word. It's pronounced natal. They could try to build something that serves all of those purposes, right? Which they didn't do. I think that's probably a good thing. But then the weird thing that they did is they built both of the UIs for the custom touch thing and then the desktop thing, and then they put them both in the same OS. So that even if you're using a mouse and keyboard, you still have all the big blocky text stuff. And the end result with Windows, and the problem with Windows 8 as I see it, is that there's 2 of everything. And not in a positive Noah's Ark kind of we're going to save the zebras way, but in a I don't know where to go to find the mouse settings way. So you have, on the Metro side, you have settings, which controls...
In the start screen.
I'm talking about just in general.
Okay.
There's 2 of everything. There's 2 task switchers. If you're in the desktop and you press Alt-Tab...
You see the traditional Windows 7 carousel of open windows.
But that only goes through applications that are running in the desktop environment.
Okay. The desktop app, even.
The desktop app.
And then if you swipe in from the left side...
If you or move your mouse cursor up to the top left and the screen pops out, there's a whole other task switcher that switches between the desktop and all the Metro apps.
That's the one they want you to use.
But it's useless because most of the time you're using desktop apps. At least I am on a desktop PC because that's where my work lives now. Because the Metro apps, whether they're coming before October 26th or not, the Metro apps don't exist right now. There aren't very good Metro apps out there. There's not even a Twitter client that I
So
can
this is
see
a
that's
problem
worth
because
using.
there are not good. It's no good parity between apps in desktop and traditional style Windows desktop apps and Metro apps. Is this a short-term problem or is this a fundamental long-term problem?
I don't know. I mean, the problem is it's almost like there's 2 separate OSs here, and it's almost like you have a virtualized OS running inside another OS.
Which one's the virtualized one?
I think the desktop is probably the virtual. I mean, it's not really virtualized, but I mean because
Second-class citizen.
it's treated like a second-class citizen. Yet that's where the vast majority of the people who use Windows are going to live, at least for the first year or 2 of this product's existence on desktop PCs.
Question: if Windows was designed, and obviously we don't know now, if it was just the new modern style, this new start screen, and that was Windows 8 without the desktop, regardless of application support, would that be a usable? And if there were plenty of modern style apps, Metro apps, would that be usable on laptops and desktops as a primary OS?
I don't think so, because the problem I'm finding is that a lot of what you do in Windows on a day-to-day basis requires you to be able to drag and drop things between windows, or
I mean, actually having Windows.
like it requires you having multiple windows open at the same time so you can see different things. And Metro kind of does that, but not really very well. I mean, you can do the kind of 1/3 or the 300 pixel wide split, but it's not the same thing. And like it's the problem is there's a lot of times like I couldn't figure out how to turn the computer off. Like
Is this a limited case problem because we use 30-inch monitors and have 24 tabs, 30 tabs open?
so
'Cause I know my mom would not care about that.
about turning the computer off.
That's what power button does.
You just press the power button on the
Yeah.
tower, right?
And you know what? I open. Where's the Gmail icon on desktop? Oh, I renamed Chrome to Gmail. Double click that. Homepage is Gmail. That's not all you
I mean, here's the thing: is I think that people who buy this for tablets aren't going to have any problems at all, because I think, given what you expect to be able to do on a tablet based on the expectations set by the iPad and Android and all the other stuff that's out there, I don't think that not being able to run that stuff on the tablet is necessarily a bad thing, right? I don't want to try to run the desktop version of Office with my finger, because my finger is too fat an instrument to work with that UI, and it's not a good experience. But I do expect to be able to do that on my desktop PC, and I don't like having the fact that there's a weird mail client on my desktop that's kind of shitty and big on my big 30-inch monitor. It doesn't make sense for it to be there, and I can take that away. But at the end of the day, my start screen is going to be like 6 apps.
You want to ignore it,
and
can you ignore it?
You can kind of. I mean, so if you launch apps by pressing the start key on the keyboard and typing the name of the app, or pressing something that's pinned to the taskbar, you're never going to notice that Metro's there.
Okay.
But on the other hand, why would you spend money on the OS and bother upgrading at that point?
$30, $40 for all the benefits, because there are benefits that improvements they made to the traditional on the back end, and also to the traditional Windows desktop environment in terms of task management.
Kind of.
I think that's worth $40.
But I don't
for infrastructural improvements,
I think
networking and SkyDrive integration.
I think the back end stuff is good. I think on a laptop where you're using maybe cellular data sometimes and regular, unmetered data other times, there's real improvements to be had there. I don't know the benefits of like the advanced multi-monitor support, which is quite good, outweigh the detriment of this weird secondary OS tacked on top or below my other OS. And just to be clear, it doesn't hurt performance. I mean, performance isn't bad. It's better than Windows 7 from a Windows snappiness feel, but it's really confusing. And you don't know where to go. Because the weird thing is, the only place that the desktop and Metro, or the modern start menu, start screen, interact is when you type the name of an application. So if you type an application, it shows you a mixed list of Metro apps and desktop apps.
In the replacement for search.
In the replacement for the start menu.
Yes.
Yeah. So for example, Google Chrome has both if you install the dev channel on Windows 8 right now, you'll see a Metro version of Chrome and a desktop version of Chrome, just like IE 10 has on Windows 8. And it's really unpredictable where links open when you click on a link in an app. Like for a while, I clicked on Chrome and it always opened in the Metro version, and then for no apparent reason, it all started opening in the desktop version. And the same kind of thing happens in IE and the default apps as well. So to the point that when I click on a picture on my desktop, I don't expect that to open in the full screen Metro app. I really just want to see it open in a window, because then I can drag it into an email or whatever it is I want to do with it from there.
Tracking files and tracking things is very important.
Yeah, and it's a real detriment to go full screen if you just want to see what the contents of a file are. Like that kind of stuff seems really crazy to me. So it
toolbars and file properties and all the things that we love from a full desktop OS.
Well, that stuff's still there. That's still in the desktop side. But you don't. If you're opening a picture to see what the picture is and then want to get the properties or see where it is on the disk or whatever, you can't actually do that from the Metro version of the app, because there's no right clicking and there's no. It's real weird. I mean, it is. I think it's like I can look forward in the future and see a time 3 years from now when it'll be right and they'll figure it out and it'll all work together and it'll make sense. But right now, I think it's going to confuse the hell out of people, because I'm confused all the time I'm using it when I hit those Metro desktop walls.
And we just don't know if it's worth $40 just yet.
I don't know that the hassle is worth $40. I mean, I think the performance benefits are real. The back end system management stuff is really nice. Like it automatically installs updates. You never get hassled with that kind of stuff. The kind of making Windows easier to use stuff is good. But I think that the Metro, it really feels odd and disjointed and not particularly well thought out how all of this stuff goes together. And the fact that I couldn't figure out where to adjust the mouse sensitivity, or the fact that there's 2 task switchers, are just the tip of the iceberg, I think.
And even if it's not a hassle, even if it's something you can completely ignore, selling you Windows 8 for $40, even if everyone who has Windows 7 or a significant amount adopt, that is considered a failure for Microsoft, because they want you. The whole point of getting you into Windows 8 is get you into that Windows Store and get you buying buying applications, programs, whether they're desktop or Metro ones, through the Windows Store.
Well, and it's also worth mentioning that the number of people who buy an upgrade copy of Windows is minimal compared to the number of people who buy Windows on a new PC, whether it's businesses or retail or whatever.
Corporate licenses.
So yeah, I can't imagine this is going to take off in the corporate world. For the people like my wife's company that are still running XP on all their laptops, they're not going to buy into this all of a sudden because they're like, oh yeah, with Metro apps, that sounds like a great idea. We should totally get on board with that. No, they're going to keep running XP for another 10 years probably.
People, even though the RTM is out for MSDN and TechNet subscribers, people can download a sample of that right now. Also, there's a 90-day trial you can download, but you cannot go from the trial to a full version. So
really,
it is a limited. You can only use it on a new PC.
On a new install
or upgrade. Actually, upgrade install from 7, I think. But you cannot go from the trial after it expires. That's it. There's no upgrade.
Why on earth would anybody do that?
It's a developer trial.
Oh, okay. No, that's a whole different thing.
I just open Windows and run Steam. Do I want to
you have Windows. Joey, you use only Windows in Boot Camp.
In Boot Camp, I have Windows 7 Boot Camp.
Right.
And then I just use.
I would not spend any money for what you do.
There's no reason for me to.
That is extra. That $40 is better spent on a Humble Bundle.
Or buy a game. Yeah, go buy a game.
All right. Heard Sleeping Dogs is pretty good.
Yeah, Darksiders 2.
Darksiders 2. I still play Darksiders 1.
It's a little janky on PC right now. I had some issues, but we can talk about that later. So yeah, that's we'll have more on Windows 8. We'll do a quick look tomorrow, and I'll show some of the stuff. I mean, I don't want to sound super negative because it's not like I said this the other day. It's not Vista bad. Vista was really bad because it had massive performance problems, massive stability problems, and a shitty UI on top of all that. This isn't the same situation.
It sounds like they're trying something boldly kind of new here.
Dramatically different, yeah. It's crazy different, even.
Right now, the verdict is weird.
Yeah. That's what I hear from everybody.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Like if you have a second machine and want to try it out, spend the $40. I wouldn't put it on my primary machine right now. And again, like I said, we're not going to do a full review until probably after RTM, because I don't think it's going to be really difficult to judge whether this has been a success or a failure until we see what kind of apps show up in the Windows Store. I mean, the thing that's different about OS X and Windows is the glue that holds the whole ecosystem together. And with OS X, it's kind of like it's just a firmware update for your Apple laptop, right? With the new built-in apps and other stuff. There's not that much of an ecosystem on OS X compared to Windows these days. I don't think, at least. So yeah, let's. Anything else on so 90-day trial, no Metro? You want to talk about Surface? Because there have been rumors, and they're.
You want to talk about rumors, or do you want to talk about?
Have they announced pricing?
Nope.
Oh, well, there have been rumors about pricing.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Microsoft Surface, which is the tablet that will run Windows 8, both the RT version and the Pro version, but the RT version theoretically coming out October 26th.
RT is the ARM version, Pro is the x86 version.
Mm-hmm. This is the 10-inch tablet, 10.1-inch tablet coming from Microsoft. They're making it themselves, called the Surface. Engadget had a report this week with multiple sources saying that will launch at $199.
That's crazy.
It's the price of a Nexus 7.
That's crazy.
On a 10-inch tablet.
10 inches the size of an iPad?
Or a little bit bigger because it's 16 by 9.
Yeah. But basically a Windows PC in tablet form for $199.
That's crazy. A lot of analysts and people who have engineering expertise and supply chain expertise came out and immediately said that if Microsoft is doing that, they're going to lose more money on that than they did on Xboxes at launch.
That sounds about right.
I can't imagine that they think they're going to get enough money post-sale to make up for a $300 deficit at launch.
So I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, there might be some sort of crazy deal where if you buy an Xbox and a laptop, then you can get the Surface for $199.
Why would you? I don't think. Maybe an Xbox, or maybe it's some type of live subscription thing.
But they could do that.
Like they did with the Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that they can afford to lose that much money.
Hold on, the live subscription thing doesn't work because they don't have a service worth subscribing to on the PC on the PC side.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they can do. People are thinking that it could launch that low, and they're hoping that will launch that low, just to get people to adopt Windows 8.
That's wishful thinking.
I don't think Microsoft can afford that because one, their OEMs would revolt, which they already are. And two, if they ever want Surface to be a real product line and have Surface 2 tablets and Surface 3 tablets and that be a real family, they can't start at $200.
You can always lower the price later, but you can't raise it. That's crazy. There's no way they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could hook it to a service, but they don't have a service unless I can't imagine they make enough money on Zune Pass or something like that to tie that to that service. It's just crazy.
Well,
$199 is
it could be tied to a carrier
because that worked really well for Motorola with the Zoom, right?
That was contract free.
That was not subsidized. You're correct. I don't know. I think that's bananas. I think that's yeah. I would have been embarrassed to print that. I think probably so. Well, so you mentioned the Windows RT, the OEMs being pissed off. There's an OEM revolt in the Windows ecosystem, and it has to do with the Surface, right?
Yep. Acer CEO is very unhappy about pricing. Said that if Microsoft is going to launch at $200, then
so he's just responding to rumors.
Well, he's talking about pricing specifically. Microsoft said, and they've done blog posts about how good the OEMs are, or how important they are to Windows 8. And that they'll price Surface competitively with other tablets when that launches. HP has said that they're happy, they're fine. They're going to release their own tablet. Toshiba is not going to do tablets.
A Windows RT tablet.
Windows RT tablets. Okay. There are a couple other ones that have been announced. We've seen from Lenovo Windows Pro 8 Pro tablet, but nothing that looks like the Surface.
Well, I mean, a lot of these companies that are now kind of pulling back. Toshiba is notably, but I mean, we've gotten actually hard sales numbers as a result of the Apple Samsung lawsuit about the Samsung tablet sales. And I mean, some of those Samsung tablets have sold in the tens of thousands, not even the hundreds of thousands. So I don't blame people for being skittish in going into the tablet market at this point. And Toshiba didn't have big shakes with the Android tablets either. So if Microsoft's going to come in and compete, especially at a crazy low price, they're smart to get out.
Well, even on the Android side, you have Nexus 7 coming out, and many people love it. The pricing is great, but we haven't seen tablets announce on the Android side, with Jelly Bean.
That's true. I mean, well, with Jelly Bean on the Nexus 7, they stifled the market for 7-inch Android tablets.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen Samsung announce, their Galaxy Tab 2 is like $250 now. So they can get pricing kind of close, but it seems like they're kind of already afraid, and Google has kind of monopolized that market.
Well, it's also only been a couple of months since Google I/O, and while they could have killed products in the time between Google I/O and now, they probably couldn't have spun up a new product that is. So if they had something that was close or not, that wasn't close to what the Nexus 7 offered, I would guess there were a lot of products killed after I/O.
Joey, are you in the market for a tablet?
I am.
What are you looking at?
The Galaxy Nexus.
You're looking the Nexus 7?
Nexus 7, yeah.
Is that because you're happy with Android? Use a Galaxy Nexus right now.
Yeah, the phone, yeah.
The phone.
Yeah, Nexus 7 seems like I will know it well, and it's in my price range. I don't need a whole lot from a tablet, I guess.
If Apple comes out with a tablet announces a tablet in 29 days from now, 28 days from now.
28 days later,
and,
you're saying?
It is priced at $250.
Would I get it?
Would that be compelling enough to make you not consider a Nexus 7? A tablet that has a bigger, similar screen size as the Nexus 7, so thinner and lighter, about same dimensions.
What if the bezel's not as thick?
I am not nitpicky when it comes to tablets.
not nitpicky in terms of the ecosystem you're in, or not nitpicky in terms of, because you love the Kindle. You read a lot on the Kindle.
Yes.
And you have the Kindle with the keyboard on it, I think, right?
No, it's like that little
the
track-
post one, right? Without the Kindle, just the
The 4 non-touch
Yeah,
is what you
exactly.
have.
Yeah, that is super light and great for reading.
Yeah.
And you'd be using a tablet for email reading, web browsing. You don't need cellular service tied to it. You don't need any of
No,
that stuff.
absolutely
Exactly,
not.
right? But you want something that you can look at, color images on.
Yeah, or like video,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty much it.
So for you, basic needs, like that is mostly what people need. That's what people who bought the Kindle Fire wanted.
Hoped for.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
why I was looking at the Kindle Fire.
Right,
until I
something
found
that
out.
could play video, right? Get, Amazon on demand. You get Netflix. You get books, email, light web browsing, because you're mostly be doing web browsing on a main computer anyway.
Yeah.
Not your main computer, a companion computer. $200 is an excellent price point for you.
Yeah, anything over that is.
What about size and weight? What are your
That's not
considerations?
that. That's not a huge concern for me.
Joey can do like 150 push-ups a day. He doesn't need to worry about size or weight.
So why would a $250 Apple tablet entice me?
At that point, it's all about ecosystem. It's all about what apps you can get,
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've only used Android systems for Android
and
stuff.
you're perfectly happy with that. Do you
Yeah.
use Instapaper?
What is it?
Instapaper?
No.
Oh, you haven't used Instapaper
is
on
that?
Android? It's a bookmarking service. We can talk about that later. We
Okay.
talk about it a lot. And what do you use for like podcasting? Listening to podcasts on your phone?
It's like iTunes, my iPod.
Oh, you just use that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't listen to much music on my phone or any kind of. I never connect headphones to it.
See, it's interesting. I think that's one of the defining differences between the Android and the iOS user.
Do iOS people use? I guess it syncs up to their iTunes.
Because I use it, I use that as my main MP3 player. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't.
That's the only thing I would miss.
But I'm on
or
Spotify.
I miss.
And if
I
there's-
don't have.
you don't use.
I don't use streaming on my phone. I mean, I guess I could. I just never do.
I've been trying to live on all my mobile devices without having turned on iTunes. The moment that you can update your up to iOS
Yeah.
without connecting to iTunes, I've been checking iTunes, and last time I double clicked on the icon, months and months. Do not want iTunes.
So the only thing I use iTunes for is occasionally copying over like a big file, like an ebook or something like that. Like if I have a PDF proof of something,
Email,
I kind of.
it's too big.
Dropbox.
50, 60 megs. Sometimes 300.
Box.net.
For like book proof, sometimes it's 300 megs.
You use iTunes for this?
Yeah, you just drag it in, copy it
See,
over
I
to your
kind of
PDF
like
reader.
having a CD or whatever, and just just buying everything. It all being in like it organizes it for me. Like, all right, that lives.
You
there.
like the library? 300
300 meg
Yeah.
book PDF. That's there's something wrong with compression there.
No, it's pictures and stuff.
I don't use
Like
it for any.
cookbooks and things like that.
So why is the Surface crazy at $200? Is it just a much more
Because the
powerful
hardware
machine?
would be
Because of the
equivalent of that of like an iPad.
Okay.
Basically.
Because of the screen size. I mean, the cost of the screen and the CPU to drive that big a screen
So the cost
is substantial.
The cost for them is just way
They would be
more than.
Yeah, it would cost way more money to make that than they would be selling it for.
Because Google sells Nexus 7, the base model, 16 gig at $199, and it costs them,
8
according
gig
to
at
iSupply,
$199,
8
you
gig.
mean.
And according to iSupply, it costs them about $170, $175 just in parts. They're making nothing off of that.
Okay, that's what I was. My
And
next
they have the
question was,
sales infrastructure, because you can only buy it in the Google store and some retailers. They're selling pretty much all they're making, and they're not losing money, but they're not making money on it.
So sometimes you do that. Like Google's happy doing that because they want to build ecosystem for Android.
'Cause they
So
want
it's
people
like
to buy
marketing
stuff on the
cost for them
Google Play
almost.
Store.
Yeah. Well, but even more than that, they want people to have Android devices, and they want people to be excited about Android devices, and they have a lot of kind of negative connotation about Android to get over in a certain community.
is it working so far, or what do you guys?
I mean, I like it. I like it, and I haven't liked many Android devices to date. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, anecdotally, yes.
Yeah.
The Microsoft, I don't think, is in that same position. They already have 600 million people that use Windows, right? They have literally hundreds and hundreds of millions of people using Windows. Most people are pretty okay with the way Windows is right now, but what they're doing is making Windows worse to that existing installed base, to the massive number of people who have desktop computers with mice and keyboards or laptops with trackpads and keyboards, but don't have access to touchscreens. So yeah, here we
What
are.
could they have done in Windows 8? If we turn back the clock and go back to when they're in the pitching room and Jay Allard was still working there, and
Well, that was before Windows 8.
and and Stanislavski and JL are pitching their ideas for next version of Windows, what could they have done to make it a more enticing upgrade for people who are complacent with Windows?
You mean for people who use a mouse and keyboard like normal, sane human beings?
Yes.
I think that the thing they should have done is I think they should have taken the two different directions they went and made separate views.
Okay, so
there's a desktop view and there's a Metro view.
Outside of the modern Metro tablet use case, just on desktop users.
Yeah.
Windows 7 was great. We all love Windows 7. What would compel desktop users to upgrade, pay $40 to upgrade to a new version of Windows?
Here's the thing. The problem isn't that Metro exists, because Metro's the Metro stuff, modern, whatever it's called, modern Metro, pretty good. The problem is that there's a whole, they had to make a separate operating system that ran on tablets.
Oh, no, I know
and that stuff is still visible on the desktop PCs.
Outside of that, what if Windows 8?
I don't know why you need to upgrade Windows 7.
Okay, so
like that's the fundamental problem.
Is Windows 7 perfect enough that there needs?
It's not perfect, but it's good enough.
Service packs from here on out.
I mean, here's the thing. Look at the way Apple handles OS upgrades, right? So they look at 3 or 4 or 5 pain points, and then major ones, and then a whole bunch of smaller issues. So if you look at Mountain Lion, they added sync with iCloud with your iPhone, which leveraged their existing ecosystem on both sides to make people, A, that have Macs want to be on iOS, and B, people who are on iOS want to upgrade to a MacBook.
So you're saying the desktop UI is mature enough and desktop OS are mature enough to a point where incremental upgrades, like the way Apple's doing every year, paying for $20 for service packs with X features, is should have been the way to go.
And because they do the incremental updates in a like occasionally there's a bad update, but it's not so bad that you revolt against it, right?
No big paradigm shifts.
There's nothing. They're really good about doing, like, if you go back to a Snow Leopard or a Leopard machine and you look at that, you immediately know it's an old version of OS 10. You kind of don't understand why, but it's just basic stuff like the color of the Windows Chrome, and it's been a very gradual change over the last 5 years to get from the brushed aluminum, which was what it looked like back then, to the modern, almost chromeless kind of Mountain Lion interface. And they do it, literally tiny little changes every 18 months. They charge you $20 or $30 or $40 for them, and it works out. These giant, massive shifts. If they had introduced the ability to download apps from the Windows Store and download Metro apps from the Windows Store and run them in a kind of weird Metro environment with Windows 7 2 years ago, and now we were seeing the fruition of integration of Metro and desktop, and people were already bought into the Metro apps, they'd be really psyched about it. But because it's such a hard stop,
big sweeping changes,
massive change, like normal people are not going to understand what's going on.
Freaking out.
And there's like the way they introduce, here's the fucked up thing. The way they introduce, hey, to get back to the start menu without using the button on your keyboard that normals don't use, there's a little video that plays as it's setting up your profile the first time you log in that says, move your cursor to the corners, and that's it. And then it shows a little diagram of the charms coming out of the right side, but it doesn't really show the start menu popping out. It's just, you have to know how to do that, and people aren't going to be able to figure it out. That Chris Pirillo video that he did with his dad was a little bit hokey and kind of clearly set up some, but it was true, because when you put your mom in front of a Windows 8 machine, she's going to get on the desktop and then not know what the fuck to do next.
This all sounds like me in Final Cut X and 7.
It's the same thing. Like that Apple did the exact same thing with that. They changed Final Cut from the traditional nonlinear video editor that, like, ultimately, if you look at nonlinear video editors, the keyboard shortcuts are a little bit different and stuff looks a little bit different. But if you know how to work Final Cut, you can probably figure out how to use Avid or Premiere or Vegas or any one of those other apps. They did you're exactly right. They changed the common language of those applications dramatically with Final Cut Pro 10.
What's the most used key in Final Cut? Spacebar?
I would say JKL.
JKL.
That's.
So imagine.
What's JKL?
JKL is L is play forward, J is play backwards, L is stop.
Oh, okay.
Imagine if Final Cut 10 or Final Cut 7 was still there, but every time you hit J, it switched to.
So that's one thing
10.
I'll give X. It still uses JKL, but you can't Control V. You can't cut a clip the same way. You can't drag around. I mean, it's
It's definitely, and I do the same thing going back the other way now. So when I fire up Final Cut Pro 7 on one of the pros that we have here, it's really confusing. So yeah, imagine that you were running both of those at the same time, and some stuff happened in one, and some stuff happened in the other, and it kind of didn't make a whole lot of sense which was happening where.
Yeah.
That's the problem that they face. So yeah, I think a gradual roll. If they had introduced the concept of the store and Metro apps and all that stuff 2 years ago, and rolled out some fucking incredible Metro apps, so that people really got excited about that, and that was the best place to get a Twitter client. Microsoft developed themselves, and it was amazing. People wouldn't it would make sense. It wouldn't be scary, and the fact that they had to layer all the OS stuff for the tablets on top of the desktop version 2 is inane. It just doesn't make sense. It's just terrifying, scary, and confused.
Curious to try this now.
Yeah, you should definitely give it a try. So yeah, that's what I did this morning. New SkyDrive's out.
SkyDrive.com.
Have you gotten it yet?
Did not roll out to me yesterday, so I do not have it yet.
Okay.
I don't really use SkyDrive. There's a new desktop client also, but it's something that I will be using more with Windows 8.
So the desktop client syncs the contents of your shared folders on your PC to the cloud, making shared folders on your PC a thing that people will see for the first time ever. Because those are the folders that are used to share between accounts on your PC. And if you only have one person using your PC, you'll probably never know it's there.
That's a little weird.
Yeah. That's all I know about SkyDrive, but I haven't gotten the new version yet either. So.
I don't even know what this is.
Oh, SkyDrive. Go ahead.
No, it's their version of like Dropbox.
Well, it's more than that.
It's PCs.
Well, anyone can have a SkyDrive account. So it's SkyDrive.com is their cloud storage service and their version of iCloud and Dropbox. So you can store files there. You can have a desktop client. It's like Google Drive. It's
a little bit of both iCloud and Dropbox, because you can access it with the folder structure, but also applications can say, "Oh, I want a little bit of your SkyDrive to save my files there." So it's how Windows 8 knows that my wallpaper, and it's how it makes my profile the same on all the computers.
Okay.
Plus, it's integrated with Windows Phone. So if you take photos just like on Google Plus with your Android phone, your photos populate automatically. That your photos on Windows Phone populate SkyDrive.
It's kind of like, how when you sign into Chrome on different PCs and it pulls down all your bookmarks and stuff. It's the same thing, but for apps and OS.
Oh.
And the nice thing about the way SkyDrive works generally is it's almost invisible if the app uses it right. So you don't even have to know that you're using it. It's just there, and stuff works across multiple computers. Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1.
Ooh.
They announced that this morning, huh?
Do we need that? Do we need another Galaxy Note? I really haven't even used.
Well, they sold
Galaxy
50
Note.
or 60. Oh no, the Galaxy Note was pretty good. People really liked it, especially in Korea.
Okay, it's a big tablet with a stylus.
It's a big phone.
Big.
Well, the new one is Note, the original Note.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can just write.
Could write.
You can write on it. So at CES, they're the ones with the big booth that had artists drawing and sketching on their tablet. And so Samsung's really committing, and this might be possibly as a result of them banking on styluses on tablets being the differentiating factor on their tablets after the trial, the Apple lawsuit. But they're banking on content creation with styluses on the Note.
Well, and the thing that they're doing it right. Because if you use a stylus on an iPad, there's no pressure sensitivity, which is what makes it not work very well. When you add pressure sensitivity, and I think the new Note 10.1 has 124 levels of sensitivity or something, right? It's a significant number. Then you can it picks up the variation in pen pressure that results in thicker and thinner lines at different parts of words and stuff like that. It makes text more legible at a smaller size, which is really important. It's funny, Gene is really into the Note.
So it's like Wacom style tech.
I don't think it's that pressure sensitive, but similar.
Not. Okay.
Yes.
And on the 10.1, it's a 10.1 inch screen, so it's a big screen. Is it any thicker than the normal 10.1? Do they have to make it bigger for the store?
I don't know in terms of capacity.
In terms of thickness.
I'm not sure about the physical dimensions, but it's a 1280 by 800 screen, which is the same as it is on the Nexus 7, so it's not that great of a screen.
On a much bigger tablet. It's the same screen as on the original Galaxy 10.1, Galaxy Tab 10.1, right? That was a 1280 by 800 screen too, I think. It was a long time ago. So yeah, stylus. People were really, really mean to them during that press conference this morning.
Well, that's coming out tomorrow. If you're interested, $500 for a 16 gig Wi-Fi model.
Are you interested, Norm?
Nope. Last thing I need is another tablet. Although if the Surface does come out for $199,
There you go.
Why not?
Two tablets. The Nexus 7 and a Surface is 2 tablets for the price of one.
Yeah. Would you rather have a Nexus 7 and a Microsoft Surface RT, or
A 7-inch iPad?
no? Well, assuming that together is $400 theoretically, or an iPad 2.
I just want a good book. Tale of Two Cities. Take that with me on the plane.
Those are probably bundled.
It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times. Flash for Android. Yesterday was the day that Flash for Android went away forever.
What?
Yeah. Remember when they said we were going to have tablet, phone, desktop parity with Flash? You'd be able to watch all the porn videos you wanted on your Flash-equipped Android phone?
The real internet on your tablet and on your Android phone, such as on the Motorola Zoom and the BlackBerry Playbook. That was the selling point for a lot of these Android tablets and phones. You could play Flash.
Never worked.
Adobe said they've abandoned it. And,
That was last fall.
And now, as of the 15th, no longer can you download and install Flash.
So if you have Flash now, enjoy it while it lasts.
No more support.
I mean, the thing that's interesting in the last 2.5 years now, is that everything that you used to do on the web using Flash, almost, except for playing like Flash games, works on HTML5 now. Yeah.
And a lot of Flash game stuff now runs with CSS and JavaScript.
Or runs as a Chrome app or something like that, Chrome extension.
Yeah.
So yeah, Flash for Android, RIP. Amazon announced the Chrome to Kindle extension for Chrome, which is very similar to Chrome to Mobile. Which do you guys use that? Have you used it at all? With the advent of Chrome on iOS and the Nexus 7, like I use Chrome as my mobile browser now.
I may have used that. What is it?
Chrome to Mobile on the desktop. It's like a little button you install in Chrome. You hit the button, and whatever page you're on gets sent to the mobile.
Yeah, and then I look at it on.
Yeah, you get a push notification on your phone, and then it takes you right to the link for wherever you were in the browser before.
Don't need that because I have device syncing, so I can see if, like for example, before podcasts, I just have on my laptop, I can have all the windows I need open, and then open Chrome up, and I don't need it pushed to me up. I can just browse and open those tabs.
Well, so these are
temporary bookmarking.
These are two sides of the same coin. The difference is it's like 7 clicks to get to the open other devices. And if I just want to send like a link to a map to myself, then I can just hit one button on the mobile and it just pops up and it's there when I'm like walking out the door to go to a meeting or something. So, I mean, I think they both have a place, is what I'm saying. Chrome to Kindle does the exact same thing as Instapaper, but for Chrome, for Kindle. So if you are reading say you're reading a 10,000 word article on longreads.org, and you think, man, this is really an interesting article, but I'm tired of reading this on this fluorescent backlit screen. I want to read it on my reflective e-ink Kindle screen. So you install the Chrome to Kindle Chrome extension. You log into your Amazon account. You say, oh, okay, I want to send this to Joey's Kindle. And you press the button, and it sends that page to Joey's Kindle, formatted just like Instapaper, without all the web page stuff around it, just the text.
That sounds rad.
Maybe the pictures. It's pretty good. It's much easier to set up within the Instapaper implementation of that because it doesn't involve email addresses and things like that. I looked at their terms of service for the extension, and I was a little concerned that maybe it was, that they were tracking every website you ever browse or something like that. But it doesn't seem like they're doing that. They didn't mention any kind of nefarious tracking in the terms of service, and it works exactly as advertised. And it will send to apps too. You may have to update your app on your phone or tablet, but it worked on the Fire, it worked on the iPad, it worked on the iPhone when I tested it.
No restrictions in terms of how many files you can send or how long.
So the restrictions are if you have to choose whether you want to use WhisperNet or not if you're sending to a Kindle. So WhisperNet is their cellular data service that's only on, I think, the Kindle Touch, the expensive Kindle Touch, and the older models, especially the ones that don't have Wi-Fi.
So with Wi-Fi, I can get this.
With Wi-Fi, it's free. If you want to send it to the cellular, then
push,
then they may charge you like I think it's like 5 cents an email or 10 cents an email or something like that. So it's not terribly much, but they do. The thing to do is hook it up to sync when you're over Wi-Fi, and it'll just happen. And you can send it to multiple devices too, which is really nice. It's hard to do with Instapaper. So if you want to have it pop up on your phone and your tablet and your Kindle, you can do that, and then you don't have to. It's not all just in one place. It'll also save in the Docs archive of your Kindle account, which is really handy. So it's quite good. I tried it out last night, and like I said, no email addresses, so it's much easier to configure than Instapaper was. Curiosity, it's on Mars still.
Mars Curiosity rover.
Is it moving now?
It's
Do they roll?
deploying. It's deploying. Has taken a ton of photographs. In the past
Literally a ton.
week. Many photographs, and the photographs are amazing.
What have we learned so far? Anything?
Mars looks a lot like Earth.
It looks like Utah.
A lot like Earth.
You know, I've heard of movies shooting in Utah for Mars.
Gangsters in Space, I
Very-
think, was shot in Utah, right? Oh, you haven't played Saints Row yet. Neither of you have played Saints Row. Oh,
I
you should.
just started it.
It's a good game.
Red Planet shot in Utah.
Red Planet, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, or Nevada sometimes too. It looks like Death Valley too, kind of, without all the.
So basically, when
plants.
you're scouting locations, you got to keep on driving, and like looking around. You get out of the car, you look around like 180. Okay, no trees. Okay, no, there's a tree over there. Okay, keep on driving. Turn. Okay, okay.
We're only
looks-
shooting this way.
Clouds. There are no clouds on Mars. Nope. Keep on going.
You can take the clouds out. You can expose the clouds out of the shot if you shoot right.
You
Realistic.
fix that in post. Any problems with the Curiosity? It's going good.
No problem so far. Taking a lot of great photos. You can actually find a lot of panoramics that people have stitched together and posted online, and color photos from Mars. Think about that.
Do you guys follow Curiosity on Twitter?
Yes.
Who runs that account? Do you think?
It talks in the first person.
It does talk in the first person. I was curious as to whether it was like an automated system where the real Curiosity would send some type of preterm signal that would
No.
activate a message.
No.
Some
But no,
intern at
it
the-
is totally a dude.
It's a NASA
being-
PR person.
Is it really?
being trying to be really witty and saying like Mars, I am in you, or something.
They're
like,
all
some-
engaging internet memes with the Curiosity Twitter account.
Yeah. So that 10 years later, we can look back and say, and like look at one of the greatest achievements in recent history, and hit our foreheads and face palm and say, "Why did we celebrate it with an internet meme?"
Yeah, they're two. The first fail. The first time Curiosity lets down, there'll be a Kayla Macaroni meme picture there.
Kayla Macaroni.
Kayla
What?
Macaroni. You know, the frowny gymnast.
Brownie.
Have you not seen that?
Kayla Macaroni.
Macaroni.
I don't know.
I'm gonna call her Kayla Macaroni.
Kayla Macaroni.
Silver medalist. Kayla
Is it
Macaroni.
silver or bronze?
Silver. I'm not impressed because she fell.
Yeah, choked.
I think the Twitter feed is going to be the transcript that the Martians later, years and years, find. They're like, "What the fuck is?"
So, there's a bunch of weird stuff on that on Curiosity, because one of the things that they did as they were deploying instruments was they took pictures of the whole, like the visible surfaces of the rover. There's a sundial.
Why is there a sun? Oh, it's for the photos. It's not like the camera looks. Curiosity does not look at the sundial to tell what time it is. That would be a very
like-
low-tech way
Time
for
is-
Curiosity to track its own time, Martian time.
Well, I think sundials are also less accurate on Mars because the orbit is more elliptical or something.
gonna
So what
say,
is
Yeah,
what
how
is the
does that-
purpose of a sundial on Curiosity?
It lets them
Aesthetics?
verify things. It has a message. It has Mars written in 16 languages on it. A lot of this stuff is messages. There's a plaque with all the children's school messages. Like there was a contest or essay contest or something you could enter where you got to leave a message that went to Mars. I
Really?
think etched in microfiche or something on the surface of a plaque.
Valuable space.
Well, it's a piece of metal. It was going to be on there anyway. Might as well carve something into it.
Contest winner. Make your mark on Mars.
There's like a bumper plate that says Curiosity and has the little pixely
No,
logo of
no
Curiosity
way.
on it. There is. It's on the front edge. It has Curiosity etched into it, and there's a pixel logo of Curiosity. Have you seen this? It's like a 16 pixel logo of Curiosity. It's super cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Things NASA scientists do
There are dudes at JPL that have that tattooed on,
their-
I'm sure.
on their free time. So apparently the mission was not as. I mean, it was risky, but it was not nearly as risky as the media made it out to be.
Well, as NASA never said how risky they thought it was going to be.
But apparently, their confidence level was at 98%, 98 to 98%.
So they were sure this thing was going to.
98% means that 2 times out of 100 that they do it, it will fail.
Yeah, in simulations, because it's all done with computer simulations, of course. And a lot of the systems that we talked about last week have never been tested together. But they would not send a $2.5 billion, spend $2.5 billion on a project, and 10 years on a project that had a 70% chance of success.
Because just to put a point of reference, not the Spirit and Opportunity, but the Sojourner and Pathfinder, right? That was the first of the little probes. That was like a $300 million mission. It was relatively inexpensive by Pathfinder standards, by Curiosity standards.
So what you're saying is we are ready to go to Mars.
I'm saying we're ready. We're confident enough to send, if we spend a decade, to send robots to Mars.
To a car. We sent a car.
We could send a car to Mars. Hyundai could send a car to Mars.
Google's self-driving car. It could be on Mars right now.
They could be high-fi. We could send a Wall-E to Mars, probably.
I don't know. Those Wall-E guys, they're not too far along in the building.
Most interesting to me, though, was there was an article in DP Review about the camera technology on like the nav cam.
So
the mass cam, the nav cam, and
do they have like 20 megapixel massive
people
DSLRs?
are asking why the photos being sent back are basically 1600 by 1200 2 megapixel images.
That seems pretty low resolution.
Seems pretty low. I mean, if an iPhone 3G could shoot a 3 megapixel image, why can't megapixel? Why can't a $2.5 billion rover shoot something with better high resolution than 1600 by 1200? Multiple factors.
I bet you know the answer.
I do know the answer.
This is good to know.
One was because it doesn't need to shoot a high resolution image because it can.
What if you want a good crop?
Because it can composite panoramas.
Okay.
Because why why have a wide angle? Because we're talking about not just sensor size, but also optics. You have limited optics because the actual eyes of the Curiosity, it's relatively small. So why put a big sensor in there when you can just stitch panoramas together and create giant images?
Because it's not like they control the movement of the rover.
Because you can control very precisely the movement of the rover and program it in. Also, you're limited by the amount of bandwidth you have to send images back. We're talking about with the 2 satellites orbiting Mars, you only have about 250 megabits per day of data that can be transferred.
So 30 megabytes?
And that is distributed between images, telemetry and instructions. It's 2 ways. So, be grateful of your near unlimited bandwidth usage on Verizon and AT&T because Curiosity has serious bandwidth.
What do you think the overage charge is on Curiosity?
I think near impossible. Sending another satellite is the overage charge.
Well, so that's an interesting story. I read about this last week. The Curiosity is actually using the Odyssey and the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, MRO, I think, as essentially communication satellites. So those both have faster uplinks.
That, I think, blows my mind more than the fact that we have now sent an SUV to Mars. The fact that we have communication satellites orbiting
that's not really
another
what they
planet, or satellites acting as relays to send data from a planet.
You know what?
Interplanetary communication is happening with satellites.
You know what? You guys are too young to remember CBs, but in the CB days, you used to be able to turn to a channel.
Like CB radios?
CB radio. You could turn to a channel, and there'd be occasionally somebody that was like a repeater, and they would make calls for you. So, like, if you needed to make a call over the Citizens band, you could pick up and good buddy dial BR549 or whatever the hell you were trying to call, and they'd dial it up and patch you through for a nominal fee.
Pensacola. Send a message to Pensacola.
Why Pensacola?
That's where little Ellie sent it to in contact.
Okay, very good. So
these are just space repeaters?
They're like CB radios. That's what those satellites are. Does that help it be less cool, Norm, or not so much?
No.
Reduce it down to...
Nope. I can't ruin it for him.
Nope. Satellites are awesome.
So that's the thing that blew my mind. And the interesting thing is they get much faster speeds if they go through MRO or Odyssey than they do if they send direct to the dishes on Earth from Curiosity, because Curiosity is a relatively low power transmitter because it doesn't have infinite power on the rover.
And we're
nuclear power,
contacting...
But not infinite.
So let's say, God forbid, those satellites
Go away.
go away.
Yeah.
You're talking about like some spaceship crashes into them, like in Independence Day style.
Yes.
They're using our satellites against us.
So those things are gone. Well, what happens to Curiosity? He just
Everything's cool. It's just pictures are lower resolution and
Okay,
take
so
longer
we're
to come in.
It would be like going from 4G LTE to Edge.
Well, but just to be clear, the bandwidth we're talking about at best is a bad DSL connection. Like even using the orbiters.
250. I mean, latency aside, 15 minutes of latency aside, 250 megabits
a day
per day.
Yeah, the direct from Curiosity to Earth I think worked out to be a bad ISDN connection. Maybe it was a bad ISDN connection at best. I can't remember. It's in one of the stories we read about Curiosity. It's 500 bits a second straight from the rover to Earth. And of course, it's also limited by line of sight. So Earth rotates, Mars rotates. When Curiosity is on the side of Earth, of Mars facing away from Earth, or our dishes that are part of the Deep Space Network, the thing from Contact.
Really good Comcast commercial. I lost a picture. Moving that dish satellite. I lost the picture.
Yeah, there's a limited time that they can talk, even using the satellites.
So the another reason that the camera is relatively low quality is that these sensors were developed in 2004. And the Curiosity has multiple cameras on board. You have the nav cam and the mass cam. They all actually use the same sensor, the same camera sensor, this 2 megapixel camera sensor. And the reason that they do that is because it was just way more efficient to then test these cameras as they were being developed, as opposed to developing 4 different cameras for different needs and then running through the gamut of environmental testing and situational testing simulations and approvals. Develop one type of sensor by one company who has expertise in this and has built this for years, and then just use that for every camera.
So even the black and white images, like the black and white images we get back from the HAZ cams and the nav cams, are black and white to save bandwidth, not necessarily because the camera can't do color.
Well, and also the optics are different.
Okay. So are these CMOS sensors? Are they CCDs? Are they something? They're CCDs?
Yeah.
And they have to be specially hardened to work in a more energetic cosmic.
They do not use like liquid adhesive or for optics and stuff. They all use stuff that works in the freezing cold night of Mars and also can withstand atmosphere.
Yeah, because even on a warm day, it's only like negative 75 Celsius on Mars, right?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You think GoPros would have worked?
GoPros would be awesome.
Throw a few GoPros on the rover.
If we made a just low budget film about Mars, we would totally use GoPros for that.
The tread cam and the
coolest thing though is that
set it on wide, man. Get the fisheye.
A couple years ago, I think maybe like 2008 or 2008 to 10, when they were finalizing the hardware to go on Curiosity, we were close to getting 3D cameras on Mars. James Cameron was a huge proponent of getting stereoscopic cameras on Mars, on Curiosity, on the mass cam.
I thought the mass cam has a left and a right.
The optics do not work for stereoscopic imagery.
But I mean, wouldn't that multiply the image for a marginal increase in effect and something that just makes people nauseous?
Testing did not work out in time, but there were big pitches made, and James Cameron stood at the NASA board and talked the big talk about directing the first movie on Mars. Imagine that.
We can just post convert to 3D, right?
I guess that's our only option now.
Yeah,
post conversion to 3D.
Why waste the bandwidth? Green Hornet that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's when he decided to go to the Challenger Deep instead.
That sounds like a James Cameron
Mars.
thing.
Right? Yeah.
That is completely in
Going
character.
swimming.
What type of movie could you direct? Right? You can't take over Curiosity
The rocks.
for 2 weeks to. You have to accommodate NASA's own.
It would need to be a scene like in Transformers.
You're not going to get a 40-minute documentary about Mars using the camera.
Think about it, though. Curiosity is designed to last, 6 months? After that, the government spent its money.
2 years.
Okay. So, if it lasts as long as Spirit or Opportunity, they're in.
So if you start shooting now.
I was thinking we'll be able to recuperate its money by leasing time with Curiosity.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Right? So after the 2-year mission, after the Enterprise is...
One night with
Martian, Martian evening with Curiosity. It's 15-minute latency.
Boom chicka.
The Twitter
Wait
account
for it.
goes wild. What is happening to me? Why, JPL? Mohawk dude, save me.
I need a shower.
Save me, Mohawk dude.
Oh, this is never funny.
There are no rocks to hide behind.
This is not funny. Not funny. Yeah.
Imagine
There's the movie right there.
Oh God. We're gonna get in trouble. Curiosity, James Cameron aside, is a huge PR success story for NASA. Like they haven't had people this interested in space since Tom Hanks and Gary Sinise got stuck in Apollo.
a lot of that is attributed to just the media is different today than when Spirit and Opportunity were sent. And that
Spirit and Opportunity were a huge story, just to be clear.
they were huge stories, but people were not as connected as they were today. And
You mean bored at work?
or bored at work. There was no Ustream for 500,000 people to watch.
That's true.
A NASA control room.
It's pretty awesome. I can get pictures on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Pictures on Twitter,
phone.
a direct raw feed, which is public for everyone.
That's the amazing
Of
thing
all
to
the
me.
photos. I mean, these technologies are not made available. The ability to remix and to add to the information being received from Curiosity to make it interesting for the public, that is unprecedented.
Did you see that they redesigned the raw feed page too? Yesterday,
You know,
or
if
this
I
morning?
was Marissa Meyer,
you would take over that for Yahoo.
I would make a deal with NASA and make Flickr the official host for the Mars Curiosity raw feed.
That'd be awesome. It would work.
Somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what's happening on Curiosity. We have a couple Curiosity stories this week. You did the photo thing, which is I thought super interesting, and then the photo gallery we'll be updating as more interesting photos come out of Curiosity, just nonstop, and we'll rebump it up once a week or so.
So speaking of cameras on interesting equipment or devices and stuff,
We're gonna talk about the Dolphin Cam.
I want to talk about GoPros in general and cameras in general. So yeah, we talk about Dolphin Cam first. There was an amazing video posted online a couple days ago from a fishing boat off of Santa Cruz, about 10 miles.
That was Santa Cruz?
That was off Santa Cruz. Yeah, 10 miles offshore.
That water looked tropical.
So I guess they were trying to shoot a short film about fishing, tuna fishing.
It seems like they were just out fishing and wanted to have some underwater shots of the fish coming in and fighting like tunas and wahoos and all that kind of stuff.
And so while they were fishing, they built, beforehand they built this rig to host a GoPro. And they could put it at the tail end of the boat.
So yeah, so it's a torpedo. It's nothing scary. It's like it is literally a thing that keeps the GoPro. You put the GoPro in an underwater housing in this torpedo, and then it keeps it from spinning. It has fins that stabilize it, and they just drag it behind the boat, like 10 or 15 feet behind the boat.
So that's why it's not close to the propeller or anything.
And it looked about 2-3 feet underwater, 3 feet.
Yeah, he posted another video of raw footage later that basically they let it sink and then started the boat. So when it started going, it stayed like 40 feet down and then kind of gradually came up over a fairly long period of time.
That's a long cord.
Well, it's a rope. Yeah, it's like a fishing line, a big fishing line or a big rope.
So turn in GoPro on, and without the Wi-Fi backpack, I presume they didn't have that. You can't monitor that footage.
Yeah.
So you just have to check the footage afterward. When they looked at the footage, they found not footage of tuna, but of dolphins. A pod of dolphins.
Pacific white-sided dolphins, I believe.
And this is something out of Finding Nemo, almost.
It looked amazing.
It was footage that it was something I would have expected to see from like Planet Earth. It's that kind of good. Like if you're looking at nature cinematography, and the weird thing about it is, I was talking to Brian Lamb, who runs Scuttlefish, and he spends a lot of time in the ocean.
Avid ocean
enthusiast, explorer, and he, because you've been on a ferry before, and you go to the front of the ferry, and there's a whole pod of dolphins swimming along the front of the ferry with you because they like playing in the bow wave, or when you go deep sea fishing, then there's almost always when you get near the shore dolphins around because they like the things that come around fishing boats are good for dolphins because they like eating fish. So he was like, it's not unusual to see this. It's not like this was a miracle thing. The neat thing is that they hooked the camera on the torpedo and actually happened to get really good footage. And the dolphins were really curious about about the torpedo.
It took turns getting to the front of it, and so it looked very beautiful and choreographed.
Yeah,
dance with the GoPro.
But I have not seen the GoPro look that GoPro footage look that good. That looked great.
It's amazing that one, the water was clear and the housing was clear.
Yeah.
But also in that high speed, because the boat's going pretty fast, that just like no tearing in the footage at all.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, that's the success of GoPro, that it's made for high speed footage.
Well, the amazing thing about GoPro is that it's and all of the kind of shockproof cameras, but GoPro is the one that everybody talks about because they have better marketing, I think, and frankly the pictures are usually better quality. But they do, like, those images look much better than they should for what you pay for that camera and the kind of optics that you have, and I mean, that's just it. Like, when you see those videos that they have, those dudes that they pay to jump off of cliffs in South America in squirrel suits, it's incredible. Looks like something that you shoot with a real camera, and it's a webcam basically. So this other thing was good too. We should talk about it.
You also tried to put your GoPro on Chloe this weekend, but that was not successful.
I need a latch. I need a buckle. I will get a buckle, and we will try again.
I did a 21-mile bike ride to the city with 4 other people with 2 GoPros attached to us.
Really?
I had one on my helmet, and then we attached one to the side of like the front fork of the bike, so you get this, like, kind of camera phone.
Like pointing forward or pointing back?
Pointing forward. So
Okay.
both are pointing forward. I'm thinking about trying it again and having one point back, like towards
The magic of GoPro is that you can get a lot of them and just synchronize footage, so you have multiple angles, and just let them go for hours.
Yeah.
So I have a 2-hour video I'm going to be putting on my YouTube page.
Cool.
At some point, just this crazy bike ride through the city. It was fun.
It's funny because I see those even popping up all over. They're popping up on TV shows and stuff too. Amazing Race uses them for their like, when people are rappelling off of stuff, they hook them on their helmets.
Fear cam.
Yeah, the shitting my pants cam is what I always called it. And it's really, I mean, it's neat. So this other thing, they hooked hooking cameras to animals is a thing.
Yeah, it turns out animals have interesting perspective that we can't imagine. In Dubai,
Okay.
the UAE, I guess.
I know exactly what that's like because I've played Spec Ops: The Line.
They built little helmets for falcons
What?
with small, tiny cameras attached to the top to get a falcon's perspective
Really?
of the world.
They built the hat?
A falcon hat, I shit you not.
Don't falcons wear hats when you're, like, controlling a falcon?
Hat.
They have a little. You take
It
the little
looks
thing
like
off when you look.
It covered the head, and it had like a little nub on the top for the camera.
Wow.
Yep. And the footage is amazing. It's low res, but the falcon just flies, and there's 2 of them, so the one's following the other, and you just get some incredible fast footage.
Wow.
Do they eat bunny rabbits or anything?
I don't think they kill anything.
Oh.
But they do have footage of them putting on the helmets, and the falcons do not look happy.
A little helmet.
I can imagine they'd be very
Little tiny
pecky.
helmets. But it is for the sake of internet footage.
Falcons got to be safe too, man.
It is incredible.
The guy who designed the torpedo is thinking about doing a Kickstarter for it if people want to buy him. Like I don't think he wants to make a business out
This
of
is a
it.
custom torpedo that he built.
I think my hunch is it's just a tube with fins, and the tricky part is probably getting the fins right so it stays down without going too deep.
I've been trying to figure out Sean Kuntz's dilemma. He wants to set one up on his wakeboard that comes in front of the line but goes up and
Yeah.
looks down on the rider, but like it's pretty close because he's got one on the back of his boat, but it's like super far.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
They seem like fun projects trying to figure out.
Because there you would have to put it on the wakeboard, not the rider, because you want the rider to move around.
Well, I think
and
what
not
we
move
were
with the-
thinking was somewhere on the rope, and then doing
The rope's
some kind
not
of
fixed.
arm, and then
But you could counterweight a thing, a pole,
counterweight it somehow with
like a
foam.
steady cam almost, right?
I don't know. It's we'll figure it out.
That's difficult. Another dude, someone holding the camera.
The interest.
the
Well,
old-fashioned
you could do that. I mean, you could have another skier out there with a camera on him.
Sounds dangerous.
No, you do a 10-foot shorter rope. It's fine. We used to do it all the time as long as the other guy doesn't fall.
Oof.
Right. I mean, the trick is the person in the front has to be a not falling kind of guy. The thing that they've done that's interesting is they built a framework around which people can innovate. So because the mount is really simple and straightforward to attach to, like, you can make almost anything into a GoPro mount if you just need to have a hole and the right width slots to drop the camera into, and then you have the waterproof cases and all that stuff. And it's not cheap.
It's the new flip cam.
We have one
it
wedged
really
into a
is.
C stand.
Yeah. Well, and that's not even a real case. That's the one that it came in.
Yeah, the box, the package that it came in.
Obviously, way more expensive than a flip cam.
Not that much more because they started out at $250 when they launched.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
$300 for a GoPro. Plus, if you want monitoring, little monitor.
Yeah. No, the place that the GoPro, we should probably quick look at the GoPros because I feel like we've used them enough to know what they're good and bad at. The place that they break down is the onboard sound isn't very good, especially if you're using a waterproof housing.
But they have line in.
My bike sounds, the bike audio, every time you kind of turn, you just hear just crazy wind. They do have line in, yeah.
They do have line in, but if you use line in, then obviously you can't put it in a waterproof case anymore. And the power is only good for maybe 2 hours at the outside of shooting. So you'll run out of power long before you run out of
That's up to us.
Our capacity.
Our power ran out way before the bike ride was over, before the storage filled up.
Yeah, and they do reasonably compressed H.264 videos, but they're really hard. Like it takes a long time to recompress them for editing.
H.264 is a kind of a nightmare in the editing process.
Yeah, GoPros are pretty neat. I'm a fan. Disney Research.
You see this video?
Is this the skin thing?
It's a skin thing.
This was terrifying.
Yeah.
You say it was awesome, but it was fucking scary as hell.
It's awesome. Disney Research, which is an arm of Disney that does all the technology research for Disneyland Imagineering, and they do a bunch of like interface design and stuff like that. It's incredible. It's like MIT Media Lab, but Disney. So they always have a Disney bent. So they did 2 things released this last week that I thought were cool. One was turning plants into touch interfaces.
Wait, what?
So they measure frequency changes and electric signals through plants, basically. And so by using computer models and attaching diodes and stuff to plants, you can use any type of plant as it.
I bet Windows 8 will run on that.
So you can, which you can imagine is perfect for Disneyland.
Fern 3000?
Like interactive plants in exhibits, right? When kids are going up and a plant says, hug me or shake me for the fruit, and then you shake the plant and you see like crazy light effects or something.
Or even if it's just like people brush by the fern and it makes weird music come out.
Exactly. Plants can come alive.
Wow.
Basically.
Like Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes, just
right,
like
sold.
that. Or Avatar, right?
Okay, I'm back out.
Avatar.
You know, you tap the plant and make music plays, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing they did was there's another research project going on that they called phase cloning. And basically, they're trying to improve animatronics. So if you think of the traditional animatronic at Disneyland, it's a robot, but the face looks really fake.
They were really convincing 40 years ago.
You can see the anchor points
a look.
in the.
Yeah, you can see where the actuator motors are,
Yeah.
and even when the skin, like the old ones, like the presidents, Hall of Presidents, right, their faces, they're almost like puppets. You can see
They look like ventriloquist dummies. Yeah.
The jawline was not perfect. It was terrifying. Those are terrifying.
Yeah. This thing looked even scarier.
Disney Research is trying to find a way to make them less terrifying, or at least more realistic, by generating synthetic skin.
See, I think more realistic would be more terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to reach close to Uncanny Valley. So what they did was they used 3D modeling to scan a face, like video games do.
Like really high resolution 3D modeling.
Yeah, just like video games.
Okay.
But then use that 3D model, then ran through some software and physics simulations to see how skin stretches to make a material and to design the motors in a way so that the skin around where your jaws are and where the facial muscles are would stretch appropriately. So when the face moves, you get all the right stretches, all the right contortions of a face.
So what they're trying to do is make Terminator skin.
Pretty much, yes.
That's a terrible idea.
Not the T800, but
like
the old ones.
We don't need Terminator skin.
The ones that look imperfect. The one John Connor always warned Sarah Connor about. The ones that looked imperfect. The ones that were in Salvation, I guess. We're getting close.
I don't remember Salvation.
You mean the McG movie?
The McG movie.
I remember that one.
He directed Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, right?
And Charlie's Angels 1?
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah. Nice, that's it.
Oh, McG.
Huh, that sounds like
also
something
remember
plastic
Titans.
surgeons would.
Well, it's not like skin that can graft onto human skin, but it's for skin that you can graft on top of motors and robotic faces.
What about Two-Face? Could you graft it on Two-Face?
I don't think you could graft it on.
He's still alive, right? No, he died.
He wouldn't be that angry. He's
Yeah.
his face back. This sounds interesting.
You should watch the video. It's
The video is good.
It's a face moving, a robotic face moving, unlike most robotic faces you've seen.
It's terrifying, but it's
Like, look forward to seeing it at next Disneyland
Disneyland.
or Disney World. Is that dude outside in the Indiana Jones ride? Is there always an animatronic there?
What are you
Says
talking
goodbye
about?
to you outside the Indiana Jones ride?
I've never been to Disneyland.
I haven't been to Disneyland since 2000.
I don't think there was an
What?
Indiana Jones ride when I went to Disneyland
Midnight.
last time.
12 years?
Senior trip, I think.
Wow, I bet you guys were drunk.
I almost got sent to the Disneyland jail. But
You
yes,
went to Disneyland? There is a real
Oh,
Disneyland
boy.
jail.
there is, yes.
There is.
There,
for
there
children.
totally
Oh,
is.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
They were not happy about a bunch of high schoolers being.
Well, why did
is-
they open up for high schoolers?
It was cool. It was pleasant.
Was it just your high school? Or was it all high
No,
school?
it was like 6 or 7 high schools, all like from midnight until
man.
It's like an
midnight
event.
until 6.
Senior night is an event, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So it's all
huge.
high school seniors from 6 or 7 high schools across the state, or
Maybe more. It's
or more.
12
Probably-
years
probably
memory.
more.
Is there like a rumble? Is there like a West Side Story kind of rumble where like the people from the East Side and the West Side can't get along?
SoCal, SoCal. I mean, or do all like differences go aside and rivalries?
And everybody's
when
like, I
you're at
want to
Disneyland?
ride the teacups.
I wish
I
I
am
remembered more
uncomfortable.
of this night to tell you.
I am uncomfortable with the idea of Disneyland, a magical place, frankly, with no children and just.
I would
drunk
pay
high
extra
schoolers.
money to
It's a
go to
different-
Disneyland on No Children Day.
You know what?
No, there's nothing
So there's-
creepier than Disneyland with just adults.
Both you guys make very like it's a very weird experience. It's also very nice not having families there.
Yeah. Like if they had, maybe it's not.
You want, so you want, we want the presence of families to make it a family experience, but those families aren't actually in line for anything.
You want
or
stunt families.
loud,
I
right?
want animatronic families with their crazy faces just to stand around.
That's it. The way it should work is there's some days a year where they're like they only let a third of the people into the park that they normally do.
You want the
think they do
heartwarming
that.
father bringing
Really?
the child.
I think
Disneyland.
they do an adult night. I might be wrong, but
Adult
I recall
night at
something
Disneyland.
about this
Adult
being
night.
like something they do normally that you can sign up for. And it wasn't, getting on rides was great. Just walk on the rides.
But only the rides are there. Like the little Princess Land is not there. Like they're not doing the Princess showing.
Yeah.
little
I guarantee
dresses.
you.
I don't think the Cinderellas are running around taking
Okay.
pictures. And
Oh,
there's-
the Cinderella's running around taking pictures would be real naughty.
I think
if
It's
it
a
was just
Small
bunch
World
of
might have been off.
adults.
It's a small.
No one likes that one anyway.
What? You don't like It's a Small World?
No one likes that one anyway.
Why do you not like It's a Small World?
It's really boring.
Yeah.
It has an awesome
really
song.
boring.
It's a world
boring.
of laughter, a world of.
Oh my god! Now
It's
I'm
a great
remembering the last
song.
time I wrote that, and it was boring as hell.
It is.
The robots there. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the first Rainbow Six game with the fake Disneyland.
Oh yeah, where the
map.
terrorists took over
It
the
was indoor Euro Disney.
Yeah.
I remember hearing a mother say that to her kid when I was at Disneyland once.
What? This is boring.
We're not going to go on this ride. It's boring. Oh,
You wouldn't take your kid on Small World?
Not me.
You monster!
Yeah, man up. Let's go to Indiana Jones for the 8th time.
Indiana Jones is cool. We went there.
Yeah.
I used to make my parents take me on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride when I was a little kid.
Those were the worst.
was that, the water one?
Oh, no.
No, it's
Mr.
just a-
Rhodes is just
Toads.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride is right in the main.
You ride like a Model A,
Is that
Model
like that
T.
vaguely racist
No,
cartoon?
that's Song of the South. That's different.
Is that still there?
Mr. Bluebird's on my. Yeah, that was super. It wasn't vaguely racist.
there
it
are
was
a bunch
super
of-
duper racist.
There's a bunch of rides right in the main street of Disneyland when you walk underneath the castle, and these are the crappiest rides in Disneyland.
Fuck off! Mr. Toad is awesome.
They're the
It
worst.
tells a heartwarming tale of the
There's
wind in the
no
willows.
thrill. You're stuck in a car that does not go, it barely goes like up 2 feet.
There's a little. You can go
is
back and forth on the rail.
Most boring ride.
The
at
things
Disneyland.
pop out at you. You almost get hit by a train.
No.
Yes, there's a train.
No.
Disneyland has a weird. In my memory banks, it is me as a small innocent child, and then one experience of me as an older sinning adult.
As a drunk.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't. There's nothing in between. There's nothing normal. I have no normalcy to.
I should go to Disneyland. Seems like a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, maybe I should go. revisit this
You want to go
place.
to Disneyland, Joey?
Why not Universal
Yeah.
Studios Hollywood?
I love Universal Studios Hollywood. I went there like
Yes.
5 times when I
Yeah.
lived in LA.
Back to the Future, the ride, which is gone now.
Universal Studios
It's in the future.
Florida has.
Well, that's where they shot all the Nickelodeon shows,
Oh, really? Well, they have like the Marvel World where it's like the Spider-Man ride, which is one of the best rides. I've
which
ever
makes
been
no
on.
sense because Disney is Marvel's owned by Disney.
This was way before that.
Yeah,
This
that was-
I think
Well, no, the rights are
15 years
still
ago.
at Universal.
That Hulk
rights.
roller coaster at Universal Studios in Florida is rad.
yeah, the Hulk one's really fun. I rode that one like 3 times. The Spider-Man one like 4 or 5. The Spider-Man one's like a mix of 3D and roller coaster inside. Oh, it's great.
I like a good indoor roller coaster in the dark.
Fantastic. Yeah.
We're all forgetting about Jedi Training Academy, which is at Disneyland.
Yeah, that's Gary's favorite thing. You've probably never seen that.
Yeah, this
You
sounds
should
like
watch that on the
before or
internet.
after my time.
Yeah. Hey, there's a new Humble Indie bundle.
It's for Android.
Well, no, it's for everything. They just are advertising it as the Android one. But if you buy it, you get Linux, Mac, Windows version, Android versions of everything. And it's BitTrip Beat and 3 other things I can't remember right now. Uplink. Couple other things. I think to get all of the stuff right now, they're doing the same thing they always do, where if you pay more than the average, then you get fifth game free or bonus game or whatever. And yeah, you get, it's good. It's all DRM free, and you can give whatever you want of that money to charity, so you don't have to give those stinking ungrateful developers a single dime if you don't want to. Mm-hmm. When you guys do the Humble Bundle, where do you give the money?
$10. Oh, where do I give the money?
Because you divide where the money goes. Do you send it to the charity? Do you send it to the Humble Indie Bundle guy?
No,
or do you send it to the developers?
Developers.
See, I always go all charity. What about you, Joey? You're the tiebreaker here. You've never done a Humble Indie Bundle.
Humble
It's such a good deal.
Bundle.
Oh.
What is this? My
If
phone.
you go to humblebundle.com, occasionally they will have sales where they sell you software or games, 5 or 6 pieces of software for a relatively low price.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want to pay, basically.
And the games are good.
Yeah, like last time it was
Last one was
Bastion
awesome.
and Super Meat Boy and a bunch of. I mean, it was
All
stuff
in
I
one
already
pack.
had.
But you could gift it. You get a Steam code.
Get a bunch of Steam codes.
And it's whatever you want to pay, but there's an average price that people have paid. And if you pay above the average price, then you get like a bonus game.
So there's a game element to buying the games.
Yeah, and they've done it with soundtracks and
Yeah, like last time it was Super Brothers, Sword and Sorcery, Bastion, Super Meat Boy,
the horror,
Amnesia, The Dark Descent. Or maybe it was just Amnesia. I can't remember. It was really good. I mean, it's an interesting thing. The thing is, you always have to look at it and be like, oh, do I have these? Yeah, I have 5 of these games. Yeah, I don't know if it's worth it. I already have 5 of the 6 games or whatever. But yeah. So it's happening right now again, and it's all Android games this time. But you also get Mac, Linux, and Windows versions too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right.
It's a thing that's happening.
Maybe I'll donate then.
Yeah. TF2's Man vs. Machine update is live today.
the 15th.
Or yesterday.
This sounds like something that
Yesterday.
I would like.
So
It's Horde mode.
Yeah, I love Horde mode.
TF2,
Yeah. I love TF2.
5 years old now.
Wow, really?
5 years old. Holy crap.
4.5.
Late 07, almost 5 years old.
Oh, God.
And they're still updating it. Massive update. Co-op mode added. Bots.
Horde mode. Call it what it is. It's Horde mode.
There's a whole story.
Was Gears first?
Gears was the first that did that.
All right.
No way.
Gears 2.
And then Halo
Very
followed
first
suit.
was Horde mode. or
Gears
very
2
first?
was the first time I ever saw. Well, okay, no, there was Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 1 or 2 had a similar kind of thing, but Horde mode I think was announced first.
Gears was the one that kind of took off.
Gears was the one that was good. Yeah. So yeah, it's out. It's out today. It's out now. If you're listening to this podcast on Thursday or Friday, it's out.
You fight against gray robots.
I
versions.
already hate the grays.
The robot versions of all your favorite TF2 characters.
Yeah.
Plus, as you fight over time, you get to unlock abilities, increase damage,
Bosses.
and there are giant robot bosses. So imagine
Wow.
a giant soldier shooting giant rockets
So
at you.
Norman Chan,
They're not unique bosses. They are just them blown up, scaled up.
they have different powers.
And they're a little slower, but they have massive firepower.
Some of them are the scouts really fast, is what I understand from the Man update page. Is this going to be enough to wrest your grip away from StarCraft 2, Norman Chan, and back into the
We'll see.
loving arms of Team Fortress?
It works on the MacBook Pro Retina, so maybe I'll just have it installed there.
There, you can play that while you're playing StarCraft.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be a great teammate.
6 people co-op.
Is it 6? I thought it was 5.
6. Maybe you and 5 other friends.
Oh, that is 6 people. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I want to give it a try.
It's amazing. If you went back in time to 2007 to see what TF2 looked like back then, I mean, it looks pretty much the same.
Art style's the
visually,
same, yeah.
but in terms of how the game plays and what maps are available and what game modes are available, it's a
It's fewer
like
hats.
3 games different. It's like more than the sequel.
Hold on, think about it. When it launched with command point maps,
Capture the flag.
capture the flag, and that was it. There was no bombing. There was none of the bomb stuff wasn't there. The King of the Hill, the arena, none of that was there.
Nope.
No hats. You only had the default hat.
Yep.
Like a peasant.
Just CP and CTF.
There were 2 types of CPs, though.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Mirror image CP. And
There was
TC
also
Hydro.
TC Hydro.
One TC map. Poor Hydro.
TC Hydro.
You don't like Hydro? The map changed every time. It was dynamic. It's a revolution in first-person shooting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Indiana Jones coming out in IMAX. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
The movie comes out on Blu-ray. Actually, all the movies come out on Blu-ray September 18th. So to celebrate that, Spielberg has worked with IMAX to re-release Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark for 1 week only in IMAX theaters.
How's that going to work? Because it's not going to be tall enough.
Shot 35 millimeter, and IMAX, while it is a 70 millimeter 15-notch format, it will just take up the width of the screen, the 70 millimeter screen.
So, like when I went to see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on the IMAX screen,
That was actually
it was
not
really
even
narrow.
That was not even up converted. That was just
CinemaScope.
No, that was just they projected it. I don't think that was even.
It wasn't an IMAX negative even.
No,
Okay.
not even. No.
Yeah, it kind of sucked.
No, but this is an IMAX negative, an improved sound, no redoing of any effects or anything.
Indiana Jones still shoots that guy at the end.
In the middle, and
Okay.
head still explode at the end.
Sweet.
Apparently, the dynamic range is much better.
Don't talk about the shatters.
And, so
Sorry. Hey, if you haven't seen Raiders of the Lost Ark,
So this isn't going to be just blown up, me moving my head from left to the right to try to follow this movie. It's going to be cool. Does it sound
have
cool?
you seen Indiana Jones in the theater before?
no.
No.
You haven't? I've seen it twice in theaters.
When would you have seen it in theaters?
They've done showings. Like in Berkeley and stuff. I've seen it twice
And
in
these are
theaters.
Oh, wow. All right.
It's awesome. Everyone loves it.
The last time I tried to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, I fell asleep. It's
I
one
would
of my
pay more
secret
money
shames.
to watch movies I love, old movies I love in theaters than new movies.
As long as they got like a decent 35 print.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, that's-
Spielberg oversaw this.
They do
Here's
that
the
at the
shitty
Castro
part.
Theater a lot.
Here's the shitty part. They are not doing the real IMAX in San Francisco. No Metron.
No.
Only fake IMAX, Limax in
Where's-
Emeryville, in Cupertino.
Oh.
AMC theaters. I could be wrong. They could be withholding the tickets for now, but we'll find out as we get closer to September 7th.
Oh, I'm so sad now.
Yep. Limax.
I'm so sad.
A lot of movies that were shot previously in 70 millimeters. 70 millimeters is, I mean, widescreen. IMAX, of course, different. If you use an IMAX camera, your the frame size is actually
It's huge.
Tall.
Yeah.
Also, it's a different aspect ratio. If you're shooting in the CinemaScope, but 70 millimeters, like Vertigo, for example, was I think 70 millimeters. A lot of old movies.
A lot of movies that are 4x3 on when
No,
they're
not
matted,
4x3.
but more 4x3.
But I mean, there's the film stock, which is bigger. Paul
was
Thomas Anderson's The Master is going to be 70 millimeters as well.
So when they shot on the bigger film, was the film grain? Was it a more coarse grain on the film, or do we don't know? We shouldn't speculate.
Probably not more coarse grain. That would not make sense. Finer grain.
On 70 millimeter,
Clear image,
even
finer
in the
grain.
old days.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You want to play some music and talk about what we've been testing that isn't Windows 8?
Sure.
Hey, Norm. Mm-hmm. What have you been testing?
I've been testing this thing in my hand. I've been holding the whole time.
It's a triangle.
It is a wedge of black cheese. It's Microsoft
black
Wedge mouse,
cheese.
Bluetooth mouse that they sent, which we're meeting for this. They briefed us. This is a Windows 8 compliant mouse, which I don't know what that means. They're releasing a couple peripherals to coincide with Windows 8. It's a tiny mouse.
Does it have a Windows 8 button?
No Windows 8 button on it.
It's blue.
There are clicky buttons, but it still has up and down scrolling. I've been using it on my Mac because it's Bluetooth.
Does the touchpad work on the Mac?
It does not use multi-touch at all for the Mac, so I can't have any of the multi-touch gestures at all. The reason I like it, and it's a claw mouse, obviously, not a palm mouse because it's tiny, is that it's so light I get to fidget with it.
I should see if that
I love
works.
fidgeting with
things
in my hand.
Yeah.
And the way I'm testing mice now is that I have multiple mice plugged in to the computers I primarily use. And so, like, for example, I have this mouse here, and I'm using
That's a wireless mouse, so it's not plugged in.
Or connected somehow, but I have my alternate mice next to it. And if I find myself frustrated enough that I just need to switch, or my hand naturally going to the alternate mouse, the old mice, then this is no good.
So you're doing subconscious testing.
Yes.
I should plug that into this laptop and see if multi-touch stuff works with that mouse, but not the Samsung trackpad.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very curious. It's Bluetooth, right?
It's Bluetooth and has blue tracking, so the light is blue, and it works on glass.
My favorite thing about that is the so you can use your iPad as a mouse pad for your Windows mouse.
Yeah, that
That's
would work.
crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? Well, that would make sense.
My dad sent me a link to a video the other day of a girl who gave her father an iPad, and then he used it as a cutting board because he didn't realize that it was a device, and he washed it off in the sink and then put it in the dishwasher.
No, not real. Not real.
It was a
Not
Dutch
real.
ad for something, I believe.
Not real.
I didn't claim that it was real. I'm just saying.
You saw a video on the
I saw a video on the internet. The coolest thing about that is the way the battery works. The thickest part of the mouse is where the battery goes, and it's sized for a double A battery, I think, right?
And only goes in one way,
Yes.
the battery.
It only shuts one way. What else, what have I been testing? I've been working with the Replicator a lot, the MakerBot Replicator. It's really a massive jump from the previous MakerBots.
How much did the Thingomatic cost?
Thingomatic was around $1,000, I think. I can't remember exactly, but the automated build platform, it might have been a little tiny bit more.
So this is, $700, $750 to $1,000.
It's a fairly big price jump.
hike.
Yeah, it's much more capable right out of the box. And if you don't get the two-head one, then it's
There's no
more
reason not
analogous.
to get the two-head one.
Well, if $250 is a lot of money, then you might not get the two-head one.
$250 is a lot of money. You shouldn't be spending $2,000
That's true.
on a rapid prototyping machine.
So we should have a quick look up next week, but it's dramatically improved in almost every way. Even when we were just assembling it, you don't have to put it together yourself. The setup process for it is even taking out the not having to put it together, getting it calibrated and printing well was dramatically easier than the Thingomatic and the Cupcake. The software is better. It's still not great, but it's much easier to use.
So easy. If you don't want to build something, you just want to download something from Thingiverse.
Yeah.
You can just download that file, put it on an SD card, and plug it in.
No. That doesn't work.
What do you need to do in between that?
You have to run it through Replicator G, and
Every file needs to go through Replicator.
It all has to go through Replicator G because the thing that you download from Thingiverse is a 3D model, and the details of slicing it up depend on what plastic you use. Because it depends on what plastic you use and like what the calibration stuff for your printer is and all sorts of stuff.
But the calibration does not go into the. You put the calibration information.
So there's some calibration stuff that goes into the G code. So like if they change the nozzle thickness for the printer, it's 0.4 millimeters now. If they do a 0.3 millimeter one later,
Right.
then you have to set that before it can determine how it gets sliced and all that stuff.
These are all parameters that you can enter into the G.
There are hundreds of parameters you can enter in.
So these are all the replicators. Once they're built in New York, they're all tested before they're shipped out. Like after an assembly line, some technician runs a build on it or something. And I want to see the testing room where they have presumably dozens of replicators on tables, all just printing at the same time.
Well,
A test cube.
So we talked a little bit about one of the problems we've had with it with this one is it seems like our build platform's a little bit warped. And they offered to send a replacement, but we're trying some other stuff first, just some experimental stuff, because they're trying to figure out what exactly causes the warping. They know what causes it, but they're trying to figure out if there's an easy way to avoid it. So yeah, I've been talking to some of their engineers, and they have internally they work on prototypes to do much thinner distances between layers and things like that, so you get a much smoother surface, and are doing all sorts of really cool stuff. So we'll probably have more on that later. But MakerBot Mystery Build is back. We printed a thing that I'm not going to talk about. It's on the site. You should watch it. It's real dumb. It's intentionally dumb. What else have I been testing? I've been testing Wi-Fi connected scales. Wi-Fi connected scales are real boring, it turns out.
Sounds boring.
You test them once a day. You stand on it. It tells you how much you weigh. It tells you what your body fat percentage is. And then you push it back underneath the thing where the scale goes.
So wait, Wi-Fi connected, what is this?
So I have both the Withings Wi-Fi connected scale. They made that blood pressure cuff we tested a few months ago.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And the Fitbit Aria Wi-Fi connected scale, which is from the same people that make the Fitbit, that little pedometer. And the benefit of doing the Wi-Fi connected stuff is it'll track for you. So you can get a scale that'll track your weight over a period of time, and that's great. I mean, you can even get an analog scale that you can do that by moving a little plastic thing around the edge of the dial when you weigh in. But this will upload it to an app so you can track it track it more accurately.
So it throws
Last thing
data.
is an app that tells me how fat I am.
There is an app that tells you how fat you are. Like the Fitbit one, you can track your food, and because you have the pedometer as well, you can track your calorie. It gives you all the stuff you need to measure both calorie in, calorie out, and the change in weight. So the scale will tell you if you're fucking up somehow. The Withings one works with the Body Media armband that we tested last year, the year before, which is both a heart rate monitor and a pedometer that goes on your arm. It's kind of like a body bug. And it weighs as well and connects to Wi-Fi and has an app and the whole 9 yards. They're kind of expensive. Like, I don't know. Well, I haven't gone. There's a step that you can take by connecting the weight measurement to Twitter, so it tweets your weight every time you weigh yourself.
No.
And like,
Perfect present for a significant other, right?
yeah, hey honey, happy birthday.
Here's a weight that will tweet your weight.
Yeah.
Here's a scale that will tweet your weight. I didn't tell you about it.
So I've seen people do this.
Set it up.
I've seen people do this. Clint, who's an engineer over at Ars Technica, has been tweeting his weight for a long time because he used to be really fat and isn't anymore. And I think he does it because it provides a kind of motivation for him to not eat cupcakes when he should be eating
do
broccoli.
that for a month.
I've been thinking about doing it,
should
but
do it for a month.
I don't know that I want to invite that level of trolling into my life.
You really? That would be too much trolling?
I already get a lot of trolling.
Exactly.
You're saying the barrier to trolling is already high.
Very high.
So I should just nut up and start tweeting my weight.
Yeah.
Also, Chloe likes to sit on the scale because it's black and it gets a little bit warm. So we know exactly what she weighs now,
Well,
too.
that's very good.
Yeah.
You should have her tweet her weight, too.
The scale, the neat thing about the scale is if different people get on, like it knows about what I weigh, it knows about what Chloe weighs. So it automatically knows that Chloe's weight goes on her profile and my weight goes on my profile.
Perfect.
You don't have to
So
tell
let's say
it.
there's like three or four of you. Would it?
I assume that if all of you don't weigh the same
As long
thing,
as
Your
like
twin
20
brother is no
pounds.
good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
yeah, you have to be a lot skinnier or heavier than your twin brother. So go eat some Oreos. It'll work itself out. What else?
I will commit to tweeting my weight for 1 month if you tweet your weight for 1 month every single day.
What about every day that I get on the scale?
Every single day.
That's all. I don't want to spam people.
Once a day. Really, once a day.
I don't tweet as much as you do.
Are you kidding me? Once a day
I reply to a lot of people.
for 1 month, just announcing the weight.
I'll think about this. I mean, the quick look has all my information, so it's all going to be out there.
Can you add a
Exactly.
little message to it, or does it have to?
Yeah, you can personalize it. You can say, "Hey,
Yeah.
look,
Come on,
hey, fatty." Yeah, we'll see.
take that bacon.
Let's talk about this offline.
No.
I'm not committing to this on the podcast. It's a bad place to commit.
Oh wow. Wow.
I like my weight loss to be private and shameful, not public and shameful.
How's the software and the
Presumed
apps?
weight loss.
The software and the apps is fine. I mean, they're iPhone, Android. I mean, I think they all have. Withings definitely has iPhone and Android apps. I don't remember if Fitbit. I'm pretty sure Fitbit has an Android app as well. I mean, they give you a line. I kind of want to go get a body mass index done, like professionally, so I can compare it to what they're saying it is.
Pinching under the arm.
Yeah, those are the things that I always thought made more sense to like keep track of than just the weight.
I want to do the one where they put you in the tank because
Yeah.
that's the real one. The pinching one all depends on where they pinch.
The pinchy one and the electro.
I don't want the electric.
currents are.
No electricity
have-
on my scrotum, please.
But I think the water one is the most accurate.
Yeah, the water one.
Submerging yourself in a tub.
They figure out your mass and then they figure out your volume
Oh, it's
and
how
from
much
your
you float.
density.
Yeah.
Well, they tell you it's how much water you displace. So once they know your density, then they can tell, like they know basically what you should be constructed of, given your height and general width and all that stuff.
Displacement is mass, but
Fat weighs less than muscle. So if you displace too much, you're fat. Is the way it works.
So you're saying that all this weight I've been gaining is all muscle?
You're hard. Congratulations.
muscle does weigh more than fat.
Yeah, muscle's more dense.
Yeah, that's what fat people tell.
That's why fat people float. Hold on, we should test that. This is going dark, horrible
Craigslist
places.
for some fat people, and we'll.
I mean, I can be the fat person. Norm can be the skinny person. We'll see what happens. Does Norm
All we need
sync?
are scales.
Does Norm sync? So yeah, I've been testing those. They're weird. I don't think they're worth the money, but I could see how it would give you like having metrics on that stuff. I like having metrics on life stuff. Like it's the same thing I liked about the Fitbit and the Body Media armband and all that stuff.
The problem with these smart scales is that I don't need it to be Wi-Fi connected or connected. I just need smarter display information as I'm standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the trend stuff is I think much more important than the day to day. You're kind of OCD, so you know what you weigh every day, I'm sure.
And also, I would like the scales to have like cameras built in or some type of camera. So when you stand on it, I'll take a picture, and then you have the trend over time.
So when you weigh yourself at home, do you weigh naked or do you have clothes on?
Wearing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I weigh vastly different weights
Day to
throughout
day.
the day.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to fluctuate a lot.
Like 10 pounds for me.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Somebody told me that it was too much sodium.
That means you eat too much
Well, it's
salt.
water. It's
You
also
drink a lot of water, yeah.
Water weight. So I go to a sauna, it's fake losing weight.
I've found I fluctuate easily 5 pounds on a normal day. Because they also are tenth of a pound accurate.
You can weigh yourself before and after a long bathroom visit.
Yes. See how much
You're
that
6 minute.
iPad weighs.
That's always kind of fun.
See how much that iPad weighs. No.
So one thing I have found is that the
That weighs exactly 600 grams.
the Fitbit scale doesn't work very well on carpet. That is the one thing. It gives dramatically different numbers when you're on a rug than when you're on hardwood. To the point that I really liked that scale at first. I was like, man, I've lost a shitload of weight.
Do you put your scale on a rug?
Well, our scales so I have been using the Wii Fit as my scale for the last probably 5 years. It'll tell me how many days because it tracks from day to day.
Oh man.
I don't use it every day, but I have weight records going back to whenever the Wii Fit came out at this point.
I'm thinking about min-maxing that weight difference of the iPad.
This is
iPad.
a terrible idea. Are you using the iPad to cover yourself, to hide your shame?
No, use the way. First of all, let's make it clear. When we say iPad, we mean taking a dump.
Really?
Just for those who didn't get it.
Didn't get it. If you min-max that, means you just don't go for a long time.
No,
And-
it's not healthy.
Oh, it's a good idea.
And then min-max the weight difference.
That could backfire in a real bad way. Wrestlers used to do that, right? When you were in high school, you'd see those guys wearing the garbage bags running up and down the stairs,
And puke.
taking laxatives and barfing.
yeah,
Yeah,
wrestlers in my high school were puking.
it's real bad.
Ugh.
Anybody, Joe? You test anything these days? How's the studio setup going? Anything interesting going on over there?
You just installed the CS6.
I just installed CS6.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I haven't touched it yet. I touched the encoder and it looks good.
So we should talk about that next week then, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, studio's coming along. We got a TriCaster now to set up.
We got lights.
We got some lights.
I told Vinny the other day that you use the TriCaster to keep your coffee warm. It made him real sad.
Not far from the truth.
He was real sad. I thought that was funny, and Vinny just was like, I don't like sad Vinny.
No, it's good. Vinny, if you're listening, the TriCaster's in good shape.
We get skylight covers, so we'll have controlled lighting back here soon.
Yeah, I think the next step is getting the sets set up,
Yeah, painting.
getting it pleasing for you to look at on video.
You don't like this mauve wall?
I despise the mauve wall and these little white cubbies we have.
Yeah, it's not real good. But yeah, office is coming together nicely. We got AC tomorrow. That's exciting.
Yay!
Yeah, and
80 something in here.
we have a fridge now. I don't think we had a fridge. I think they were installing the water cooler last week during the podcast.
That's right. Yeah.
It's not really a water cooler; it's more of a water heater, but it's okay. It's getting better. Yeah.
Next week will be exciting.
Why?
Next week will be exciting. We're doing some
Things
fun
we
stuff.
cannot talk
Oh,
about.
right.
just
Yes.
yet. Things that Will's already forgotten about.
That is what we will be doing.
Hey, I've been making liquid nitrogen ice cream all week.
Yeah, you got
how's
to
it?
do
This is why I don't want to post the Twitter numbers. Actually, when I think about it, the weight to Twitter.
No.
Um,
No.
So I have been making
This is what modernist cuisine did with the almond butter or
with the pistachio
pistachio.
gelato.
Yes.
So what they did a little different. What they did was actually macerate all the pistachios until they were basically a fine paste, and then they froze that with liquid nitrogen. I'm not doing that because I don't have a way to grind up the pistachios that finely. But what I have been doing is making a boatload of ice cream with liquid nitrogen to cool it, to do the initial freezing, instead of doing it in a churn with rock salt and ice, or doing it in one of those things that scrapes the edges that you put on your blender. I basically am putting the metal bowl on the blender, on the mixer, hooking the whisk on, putting the ice cream batter in there, and then really, really slowly adding liquid nitrogen to that, so it cools evenly and very smoothly and very fast. And I had real mixed results at first. It's a little tricky because like the initial thought is, okay, I should turn this mixer up to full speed, get it going real fast, so there's a lot of air being poofed into it, and then dump a whole shitload of liquid nitrogen in at once. This was a mistake. It splattered everywhere, and it all froze to the edges of the metal bowl.
That sounds dangerous.
Which was bad. It was gross. I've gradually found a technique that you start real slow, and as it kind of starts to chill, you increase the speed on the whisk, and you pour just a constant kind of steady stream of liquid nitrogen. I've thought about using the pour over kettle to do it, but the long spout doesn't work very well because it evaporates in there and makes airlocks and sputters and it's a little scary. But the liquid nitrogen is real interesting. Like you can do, like there's neat shit you can do with liquid nitrogen. I'm going to start freezing stuff. I got to get a new batch probably day after tomorrow.
And so Will Smith became Mr. Freeze.
Poor Gina. Yeah, but the liquid, we made fig ice cream last night.
How was it?
Awesome. It was really good. If I can find some figs, I'll make another batch and we'll try some this weekend maybe. But that, I guess we'll do it for us. I think we have, we'll skip questions this week because we're recording a little early and there's none in yet. But we will be back next week with another episode of This Is Only a Test. For Norman Chan and Joey Famelli. Almost said Joey Witta. That would have been weird.
Very, very weird.
Anything to plug, guys? 737 videos are up. They turned out awesome.
Yeah, those are fun.
Really good. That guy has a crazy 737 simulator in his garage. It's a cockpit of an airplane with like working controls and switches and knobs and dials, and it's amazing. Highly recommend you check those out. And I was on the Bombcast this week, so if you like that, then you should listen to that. We talked about a lot of stupid stuff and a little bit about Darksiders and Darksiders 2. And we'll be back next week with another episode of This Is Only a Test. I think we might have Gary back next week. He's working and having a baby a lot these days, so he's been really busy. But he will return in the not too distant future. Maybe we'll have him and Joey on at the same time. Get crazy over here. Until next time, stay tuned for fake outtakes. This outro is brought to you by Rufo. I don't know what it's about. Hi there, I didn't see you. Test it. Meat grinder. Test it.
Seemed like a real missed opportunity there for some of the things you said when you were talking about the meat grinder.
What did I say when we were talking about the meat grinder?
There are some things you said when we were talking about the meat grinder.
Really?
When did we get some about the meat grinder?
Will got a meat grinder. Grind his own meat.
Oh, wait, I was here.
Yeah.
Were you here?
Yeah.
I think that was a Gary. No, you were here for that. Yeah, the grinding meat has been. It's really weird how different meats grind very differently. Like. No.
Now, yeah.
Like different cuts of beef make very different hamburger.
Just different cuts of beef.
Yeah, like if you take like the difference between a bottom round and a chuck roast are make a dramatically different hamburger, and not necessarily like you can really make a fucking awful hamburger if you grind the wrong stuff up. Because it comes out like a Salisbury steak or a chopped steak or something like. It's real weird. Yeah, so the meat grinding experiments have been up and down.
Right.
Yeah, we'll do more on that later. We'll do a quick look of the meat grinder of the maybe we'll just do a how-to. I don't know. But it's the difference between when you use the right meat, the one-time ground hamburger is real good.
Try and make your own sausage.
I was going to say.
I kind of don't want to have intestine linings.
Casings and...
Can't you make a fancy sausage without the intestine linings and just use only the nicest of meats?
Not really a sausage. I don't mind using gross meat. I mean, I'm all about sausage. I might make some fish sausage. I kind of like fish sausage.
Fish sausage?
Have you ever made salmon sausage?
No.
You make like salmon brats, and then they're pretty awesome.
Sounds weird.
I know.
Salmon burgers are good, but it's different.
Salmon burgers are good. Why
Salmon
would
burgers but salmon burgers, the patties are ground.
Well, there's two ways to
salmon?
do it.
Yeah, the place
No.
downstairs does an actual like fillet.
Yeah, filet of that's awesome. That's like a sandwich.
That's what I
in
do.
in a burger in a bun.
I don't mind
Yeah.
the ground up, whatever that is.
I don't like ground up fish.
Well, sometimes they grind it up and put like dill and stuff like that in
Yeah.
it, so it's a little fancy.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Spice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just make it like a tuna, like tuna sandwich, like a tuna melt.
Well, tuna melt is usually tuna meat loose, not a tuna steak.
Yes, tuna meat loose but not ground.
Well, that's the same. The effect is the same.
Texture is a little different.
I don't like tuna melts. I don't like cheese and fish together.
Yeah, cheese, dairy, and fish has been.
Any sandwich that has meat in it can also use
But
some
fish
cheese.
isn't really
I
meat.
don't consider. I consider fish.
Well, that's what vegetarians say, but
Fish pescatarians.
Yeah.
Jinx. Do you like the fillet of fish, Norm?
I actually do like the filet of fish.
Joey, do you like the fillet of fish?
Oh yeah.
Gross.
McDonald's, the filet of fish.
Oh, is this a product? No, I don't. I don't.
Joey doesn't eat McDonald's
sure I
either.
eat fillets
High
of
five,
fish.
Joey.
Fillets of fish? Why you calling it O? Why not just call it of?
I don't think I've eaten McDonald's in years.
Yeah.
The
They-
filet of fish.
They do something.
They have a.
They've made a fillet of fish sandwich since like the 70s. It was, I think, their first
It is
non-burger
a
sandwich.
some type of fish meat, breaded, fried, with a slice of American cheese, and then a bunch of McDonald's tartar sauce, and in between two soft buns.
See, now this is a
What I do is I scrape off the tartar sauce and just eat the filet, the fried fish.
Oh,
and
because
the
if you
cheese.
didn't do that, I would have said that was gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're totally doing that right. The funny thing about this is that, like, if we had had this conversation on Monday, that talk would have been about how filet o fishes in California are inferior to ones from other states, because we have Frasier. This podcast is Frasier to their Cheers.
Wait a second.
Wait. I'm not getting the connections and the analogies and the metaphors.
I don't know anymore what I'm talking about.
What is
Because of the
Because
scrambled
on
eggs.
tossed salads and scrambled
What
eggs.
happened on Monday?
The Bombcast is recorded on Monday,
okay.
you nitwit.
Oh.
I've done 2 podcasts this week. It's a lot of talking. It's like 5 hours of
There's
podcast.
a lot of
I'm out of stories.
I took a bag of 7 filet-o-fish onto an airplane for a flight from
What
Tokyo
the fuck is wrong with you?
to San Francisco in 2004
Why would
because it was a really early flight
Oh my god.
and food is very expensive in Japan, except at McDonald's where smiles are free, and the filet-o-fishes were $1.
Why on earth would you
Bought
that is
7
awful.
filet-o-fishes
Oh my god.
on board the flight.
Oh, you're such an asshole.
So what did you do with the pound of tartar sauce that you scraped off?
Well, it was taken away.
What?
But I left the plane. Well, I left on the plane
Oh no.
2 filet-o-fish uneaten after.
It's like a
flight.
14-hour flight.
It's like a 10-hour flight.
That's the hold time on a fillet of fish is maybe 8 minutes.
I did more for advertising for McDonald's than the whole. Have you had your break today? Campaign did.
Everyone sitting around you had a smell.
The delicious, smell greasy.
Oh,
fish sandwich.
you're such an asshole.
Oh, delicious.
Oh my god, Jen. Like
Fish.
I
I
personally
was so hungry.
I know
I
some
didn't want to eat airplane food.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God, you have done some awful. Isn't airplane food when you're coming from Japan like sushi?
No. Yeah. Right. No.
Okay.
No.
It's a piece of chicken that's been overcooked.
Some top ramen.
If you're lucky, it's top ramen.
Yeah, it's like you have on occasion done some reprehensible things.
Filet-o-fish
To
on
Sonoma.
airplane is great.
But taking fillet of fish onto an airplane is awful.
Hmm.
Like there are things that should be punishable by death, and that is one of them. I mean,
I could sure go for a filet-o-fish.
good God, a fillet of fish?
7
It
of
smells so bad.
What's so bad about it?
It smells like greasy, gross fish.
Wait, did you say it has melted cheese on it?
Yes,
American
American.
Yeah.
And tartar sauce.
This thing sounds terrible.
It is an awful sandwich.
You know, you can get a double-decker filet-o-fish, 2 patties.
Why do they call them patties if it's called a fillet of fish?
Two fillets.
Is it like a cod?
It's filet of fish is to cod as McDonald's hamburger is to cow.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of fish is in it.
Pressed cod
I-
sweepings.
I think it's fish.
It smells like fish.
Oh, it looks delightful.
Oh my god, that looks so gross. They don't even bother putting lettuce on it. Like
No, I don't. Why would you need lettuce?
every sandwich should have lettuce if it's not peanut butter and jelly. Lettuce makes everything fancier.
I can see like coleslaw being on it, but
A little slaw is always nice on a fish sandwich.
Yeah.
Filet of fish.
oh, that looks fucking gross. Tartar sauce dripping out.
A double
it's oozing.
filet.
Oh god. Popular opinion is going to turn hard against you bringing this onto a 10-hour airplane flight.
Putting ketchup on a filet of fish, that is blasphemy.
Then you're making secret sauce. The secret sauce is just ketchup plus tartar sauce.
No, it's ketchup plus Thousand Island.
Thousand Island is ketchup plus tartar sauce.
Thousand Island is ketchup plus
Tartar sauce, mayonnaise, and pickle relish. Pickle relish. Tartar sauce is mayonnaise plus pickle relish. Norm is flummoxed. You like mayonnaise and you like pickle relish.
I don't like.
Oh, you don't like mayonnaise or pickles.
I don't like mayonnaise or pickles. I don't like tartar sauce, so that's why.
That is a logical reason
Exactly,
as to why you do not.
But
like.
I do like Thousand Island.
But you like ketchup.
I like ketchup way more than I dislike both mayonnaise and tartar.
Thousand
pickles.
Island might not be mayonnaise, but I think it's mayonnaise and I think it's tartar sauce and ketchup.
The trick is to make it tuna melt and put a little mustard in the mayo.
Fish and cheese. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't. I think fish. I don't really do on sandwiches.
Good tuna melt's good.
I don't think I've ever had a tuna melt. I just assumed that with cheese and fish it would be gross. They do tuna melts next door,
I just remember
right?
when we were at the airport restaurant and we made the mistake of not getting that one appetizer that looked
my
amazing.
God,
Was
the
the fish and chips?
No, it was a calamari. I had the fish and
Calamari.
chips.
No, we got
It was
the.
a calamari in a martini glass
It was remember we were at the airport
in L.A.
flying back from L.A.
from E3.
possibly from E3, and it was what was it called? It was Gladstone's.
Is that the guy with
It
the
was
glorious-
Gladstone's.
It was Gladstone.
Thanks, Darren.
And we got the shrimp cocktail
Yep.
share, which
That was a
fine.
big shrimp cocktail.
Coconut shrimp cocktail, right?
Yeah.
All right.
No, coconut shrimp was separate.
Yeah, we got two
Oh.
shrimps.
And,
This is
then we got the shrimp cocktail, which was a lot of little shrimp, tiny shrimps. But we saw the guy who got the calamari in the big
Yeah, that
giant
looked good.
cocktail.
We decided to get the coconut shrimp instead of the calamari, which I think was probably my fault.
That was
and
a
it was a
mistake.
bad
He
mistake.
looked so happy when that thing came to him.
It was a martini glass the size of my ass filled with calamari.
Mm.
It was a huge martini glass.
Like good-looking calamari.
Yeah.
I think I got a salad there.
I don't eat octopus anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty smart. I feel bad eating smart stuff, except for pigs.
Huh.
What?
Pigs are smart, but they taste good, so you know.
Evolution is working against you.
Well,
Your taste buds.
When you read the stories about the octopus escaping from the tank by using their arms as tool wielding things and stuff like that, I kind of feel bad eating octopus.
Chickens are pretty dumb, right?
Yeah, chickens are super dumb. Chickens deserve your scorn and deliciousness.
Did you kill a chicken with your bare hands?
Yes, I have killed a chicken with my bare hands.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up on a
How
farm.
do you grab its head and spin it?
That's the way
its
you do
body?
it. That's the way my great grandmother made us kill chickens when I was 7 years old.
And then you pull off the head and the body
You
runs
don't
around?
pull the head off; it just works itself out.
You just pop that head. Just
life finds a way.
At some point, you're holding a head and not the body. anymore.
Life goes away.
You hold the head and you wish you weren't holding the head. Yes.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that sounds. pretty
That
bad.
is fucking terrible.
Says okay. Let's have some
In the
feedback
grand
from the
scheme of
comments.
things, what is more terrible to do?
Killing an animal that was raised to eat for food, or bringing
Killing an animal-
7 fillet of fishes
killing
on a
an
10-hour
animal.
plane ride.
A lovable little chicken by grasping its head and spinning it until the head pops off.
It only takes one spin.
You just give it a little ride before.
Yeah.
before you're letting it
He
go.
did, but they don't even know what's happening.
A couple weeks ago, there was a petting zoo at small little, like portable petting zoo at the Berkeley Kite
the
Festival.
fuck is a portable petting zoo?
Like, they bring the pets and they set up the fence. It's like
It's like a circus, but
it's
for
like
petting.
a pop-up. It's
like an
pop-up petting
itinerant-
zoo. A pop-up petting zoo. Pop-up shop.
Berkeley Kite Festival is awesome.
And they had little kids there. And in the petting zoo, had your goats and
they have a llama?
rabbits. And I don't think they had a llama. But they had chickens. And there was one kid that was grabbing the chicken running around. Now, that kid could have totally popped the head of the chicken off.
Yes.
That would have scarred that kid.
That was
I
called
would've liked to see
every
it.
kid in that petting zoo.
They spray
If
a
you
fair
are
amount of
trapped-
blood when they're
Well,
running
they-
around.
If you're trapped in that petting zoo, because the walls are pretty high, and running around and other animals, You cause a little stampede.
Zombie chicken.
There's a chicken running around spraying blood everywhere. Kids screaming.
They don't spray for that
Mothers
long,
crying.
but it's a fair amount when it goes.
Oh my god. That is horrifying.
You're a delicate flower, Chan.
And yet,
I kind of agree with Mark Zuckerberg on this. I think you should know where your meat comes from.
yeah.
The grocery
know.
store.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he hunts his own.
No, he just slaughters his own and
he's-
butchered.
yeah, somebody-
for a year. He doesn't do it forever. But I think there's value to that. I think if you're
Yeah.
going to eat meat, then you should. It's nothing wrong with knowing where it comes from.
I feel like I'm fully capable of doing that.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
it makes you appreciate it.
I want to do it.
I don't know.
I don't want to do it. It's slippery slope.
Hold on, you're thinking once you know how to kill a chicken, then it's all downhill from there. Like just straight to the man, the most dangerous game.
you get the taste.
Pretty soon
Once
you're
you get the
hunting
taste,
iced tea.
right? The first kill is always the hardest. James
Ice
Bond.
Cube. Who was in
right?
Most Dangerous Game?
I never saw that movie. That's not the Deer Hunter, right?
No,
Ice-T was not in the Deer Hunter.
no.
Ice-T. Oh, is he?
I don't know. Will just said
I
Ice-T.
think I can't remember. Maybe it was Ice Cube. I haven't seen that movie since I was like 10, so it was a long time ago, and I was kind of not clear on which rappers were rich back then.
As opposed to now, where you're an expert.
I'm better now than I was then. Well, we didn't have MTV or anything, so we didn't know what people looked like. We just knew what they sounded like. Anyway, that'll do it for us. Before
Let's leave it
I make
there.
more awful mistakes. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.